Yeah, one more time around. Everything's slowing down, can't control it. Say that you're falling. Right now I need loyalty. It's hard for me to trust you. I've been in before this. I've been through the troubles. It's hard to let you in. I've been giving you the runaround. I double on the dosage. I don't need emotion. No. Right now we young and we dumb and we lit. Been thinking that before when we was kids, yeah. I was caught up in the mess, yeah. And we live for the moment, respond to a calling. It's bigger than all of us, right to the wheels. Get anything to feel something new. High if I fall, no, I did it going all in. At the time of my life, right for the squad. The lights through the fog, but we made it, yeah. I'll be good by the morning. I feel like I'm falling. It feel like I'm falling. It feel like I'm falling. It feel like I'm falling. Real eyes see real eyes, real shit, real life, real rare. I'm on edge, I make noise, they all is, no cap, all facts. All
right, good morning, everybody. Hey, how are you doing? Yesterday was historic. Today will be epic. Why Biden should go ham, as in hard as a motherfucker. I want to see Biden go ham with the agenda, ham with the black agenda. I'll give you more details. Also, some interesting developments from CPS. Shout out to Cincinnati Public School Board member Mike Morosky. He came on the show yesterday, and I can see that he did exactly what he said he was going to do. What was the response from his colleagues on the Cincinnati Public School Board? There's been some developments. If you're a Walnut Hill parent, there's been some developments. We'll talk about it this morning. Plus, a smattering of other topics related to people, politics, and pleasure. It's the Nathan Ivey Show, the last honest place in Cincinnati media. We're fearless, we're tearless, we keep it 100 with you, and we'll get started in about 60 seconds. Please take a second to like, and in particular, share today's show.
It feel like I'm falling.
The Nathan Ivey Show is supported by listeners. Go to www.patreon.com/Nathan Ivey Show and help Nathan keep the show independent.
Yeah, talking to my mirror like I love you so much. Curving on my critics like I heard you, so what? You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. Tally all the I ever gave on my head. Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss. They ain't wanna help me, that's what made me a boss. You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. We don't give a that's what they don't understand.
Back again like flu season, I broke records while loose leafing. I'm coming down my roof, leaving, don't give a I don't care. Did the for my lonesome, no wonder now I'm on one. No shortcuts on that long run, all I really want is my share. Get on my God, on my totem is nothing. In the discussion, for the feelings I throw on my pain on percussion. The disgusting, I hear them bragging about that they did and it do not move me, not in the least. They ain't been dropping no seeds in the soil, but swear that you all my spot at the feast. I've been on go mode.
All right, good morning, everybody. Let's get things started. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Hope the last 24 hours have been good for you. I want to talk about everything. There we are. Pardon my attire. I just had to get it in this morning. You know, I got to make sure this heart right here is as strong as possible. 513-873-7134. Let's get straight into it. Yeah, I'm straight from outside. Man, I love working out early in the morning when it's dark. You know what I'm saying? I love it. I'm feeling great. And as always, my pleasure to be with you. If you want to share your thoughts this morning, and I'll flash this number throughout the rest of the next 2 hours, 513-873-7134. It is official. Ding dong. The witch is dead. The wicked witch is dead. Or maybe warlock. I'm talking about Trump. Yesterday, we saw for the last time him leaving via Marine One. That's the helicopter that transports the president. Marine One, I believe, leaving the White House for the last time. Him and Melania are gone, and the internet remains undefeated. From Facebook to Twitter to TikTok to Instagram, the internet is just hilarious, y'all. Absolutely hilarious. I mean, the media that came out, all the memes, just all the TikToks, man, it has been hilarious. I have been consuming large amounts of social media over the last 24 hours, and it has been quite interesting. There's been a lot of developments from local issues. We got to talk about CPS. Shout out to Mike Morosky. Mike Morosky called the show yesterday. He said that he was going to bring it back up, bring what back up. He said he was going to reiterate his concerns about returning to in-school learning, face-to-face learning. He did just that. There was a vote. It's on record. CPS board votes against reconsidering return to blended learning February 1st. I've got several interviews. My plan is to talk to every single member of the school board, every last one of them. And I want to ask them some very serious questions as to why they voted the way they did. Okay? Because when these school board members want to get reelected, they come to us telling us they're going to protect our children, right? They come to us and tell us that hey, what's up, ballhead? Thank you for the share. They come to us and tell us they're going to protect our children, that they're going to have the best interest in terms of well-being for our children. I question that. CPS came up with this big set of criteria along with the superintendent. I got a chance to interview her. A big set of criteria. This is what we're going to be looking for. It looks like they just threw that in the trash. I'll say it again. I don't understand it. I'm searching for understanding, but that now there is a plan. And if you're a Walnut Hill parent, your child is going back to school as well. I think the date's going to be February 15th. And I think it's unfair. But we'll get to that. The big news, of course, what's up to my AKAs? The wifey was going, yeah, she was super happy. She is an AK, as I told you. She was on the line with her sisters yesterday. All over the country, AKAs were celebrating. And I'm happy for you because of the elevation of Kamala Harris. Even Sonia Sotomayor got her name wrong when she was swearing her in. Not Kamala. What was she? Not Kamala. It's Kamala. You see that? I got the video for you. Sonia Sotomayor, who is a Supreme Court justice, she got Kamala's name wrong. Talking about Kamala. Wait. I halfway felt like Kamala should have stopped right there and said, you mean Kamala? Set the record straight, sis. Let them know. From the jump, get my name right, fool. Get it right. From the jump. You know what I'm saying? 513-873-7134. What are we doing here? How's the cam looking? Is my cam up? I may have to refresh this. Hold on 1 second. Making sure you can see me. There we go. There it is. We back. I can see it was kind of frozen from my access panel. So we must discuss that. I want to see Joe Biden go ham. And what do I mean by ham? I mean hard as a motherfucker. One of the biggest mistakes that Obama made was trying to be everybody's friend, and I don't want to go too hard because of what people are going to say. Man, put your damn agenda in place, Biden. Put the agenda in place. Shove it down their throats. Good. Because that's what Trump did. That's what Mitch McConnell did. That's what the Republicans will do. If he don't go super hard from the jump, it's a wash for the next 4 years. He's going to be playing from behind for the next 4 years. That's one of the biggest mistakes that Obama kind of made. Now, he went hard with healthcare, and I thought it was a great thing to do. and then had to make a whole lot of compromises because of his Republican opponents in Congress. But go hard, Mr. President. Go hard, Mrs. Vice President. Go hard. Go hard. Go ham, because your detractors, your political opponents are going to hate you anyway. So give them something to hate you for. You know what I'm saying? Give them something to hate you for. Make them real mad. Make them real mad. We must discuss. So also, where are we at Thursday? So on Tuesday, we got a chance to speak with with a member of Cincinnati City Council, Chris Silbach, and some concerned members from the community that are urging City Council to reform the way that warrants are, or I won't say prosecuted, but the way that warrants are effected and the way that police officers can get warrants. Why? Because of Breonna Taylor. There's at least one member of City Council that's from Louisville. That's Chris Silbach. He saw what happened. He wants to react. It's called being proactive. What happened in City Council? Well, I'll give you the details this morning. Also, remember we had Michelle Dillingham on the show on Tuesday. No, it was Wednesday she came on. And she was talking about a big development deal, right? $150 million development deal. They want tax abatements on top of TIF. Right at the corner of Elm and Liberty. What happened? I got the details for you. Keep listening. Your boy got you. You know I got you. 5, again, this is the last honest place in Cincinnati media. We keep it 100 with you in a way that nobody else can. The reason why is I don't give a damn about no friends. I don't care about no friends. I don't care about all these allegiances and party. I don't give a damn about none of that. We're going to keep it 100 with you no matter what. Because what's the consequence? Who gonna say something? We don't got no program director. We do what we do when we get ready to say it, as well as all the people with CDM and whatever comes forward. We keep it 100 with you. What's the use of being independent if you can't speak your mind? You got all handcuffed behind closed doors. We ain't doing none of that. We had too much of that here locally. 513-873-7134. And if you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is. Good morning to you. How are you? Did you, I'll tell you one thing that caught my radar screen that probably you didn't. I don't know if you've seen this, but the QAnon folks, let me start there. Oh, I got a different sense of humor. I'm a Virgo. QAnon. QAnon. Do you know anything about QAnon? QAnon is this cult conspiracy theory. They believe that Donald Trump was a messianic figure, a hero behind closed doors, and that he was leading a Cold War, essentially, against a cabal of elites, pedophiles, liberal Democrats who are doing numerous things at the same time. Number one, trafficking in children for sexual exploitation reasons. And at the same time, via their contacts in the left-wing media, are influencing the politics, and that Donald Trump was standing alone against them, and that he was going to bring them to justice on Inauguration Day. Like, I read this is credible information. Like, I don't know what you was doing yesterday, but there were hundreds of thousands of QAnon supporters in chat rooms yesterday waiting for a scene that Q, Almighty Q, I don't know exactly, I can't tell you what Q or who Q is, but Q was somehow like, I don't know, the leader of this resistance who was on some levels working with Donald Trump and also working with QAnon followers to expose the truth, right? And believe it or not, I read this on a HuffPost. Believe it or not, there were hundreds of thousands of QAnon supporters just yesterday who were in these chat rooms waiting for this scene that they were promised. They were promised that Donald Trump was going to remain in office, that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were going to be not just arrested, but some of these people were going to be executed. And so literally, the reporters for HuffPost actually were like in the room and screenshotting it. It is hilarious. They were in this chat room like, got my popcorn ready. I'm ready to see this. I can't wait. And they really thought that somehow Donald Trump was going to remain in office, that Joe Biden was going to be led away in handcuffs because he's a pedophile conspirator. They really believe this crap, man. It's hilarious. I got some screenshots for you. Let me see if you can put this on the screen for my phone. You guys see this. This is a screenshot. Check this out. You see this? Fuck. Confused. All lies. Now what? BS. No. F this sham. So apparently yesterday, people in QAnon, some of them had a come to Jesus moment where they finally realized that they have been lied to for all this time. They really believe this nonsense. That Trump was some kind of hero. This motherfucker can't even play golf. I read he cheats in golf. He cheats in everything. They thought that Trump was a hero, y'all. That, that behind closed doors, he was some kind of superhero that was fighting against the pedophiles. He probably is a damn pedophile. I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. I wouldn't put it past that. I'm going to be honest with you. I wouldn't trust Trump to make a grilled cheese sandwich for me. He could do nothing for me. Zero, right? I wouldn't trust him. All right? Just like I wouldn't trust Bill Cosby to get me a drink. You go to Cosby's house, he's like, hey, you want something to drink? No, I ain't thirsty. You'd be thirsty as hell. Can't even talk. Nah, I'm not thirsty. You'll wake up with your hands tied with some zip ties on your wrist and on your ankles at Cosby's house. I'm just saying. But back to Trump. So these QAnon supporters had a come to realization moment yesterday when they realized that they had been lied to all this time. Damn fools, man. Damn fools. Talking about some damn QAnon. And so they believe that Trump would send them subtle cues in his public speeches, right? Like, oh, did you hear that? Oh, see, when he said 36, that refers to the 36th parallel and also the 36th state to be brought into the Union. What's the 36th state? Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvania get the fuck out of here, man. What's wrong with you? Let me see if I can find an article for you. I'll post a link. It is hilarious. You damn fools. Like, we were lied to. Yeah, you were lied to. It's over. That's what some devastated QAnon supporters had to deal with yesterday. It is hilarious. Here's the article. I got it for you. You got to read this. You got to read this, fam. Oh, my God. This is so funny. It's amazing how damn dumb some people can be. It's amazing. Talking about some fucking QAnon. Are you losing your mind? They really believe that Donald Trump was some kind of hero. As in hero sandwich, maybe. That's about it. I just posted a link on Facebook and Twitter. You can check it out for yourself if you want to get a couple of yucks this morning. You got to laugh. You know, medical scientists, doctors, they'll tell you that laughter is good for your soul. It's good for your health. So get a chuckle out of this morning. Somebody wrote, welcome to the grand finale. Apparently there's an app called Gab, and they had 185,000 members on this particular group. 185,000 people. Somebody wrote, anyone else want to puke with excitement? Question mark. Exclamation point. Question mark. Exclamation point, like 6 times over. By 11:45 a.m. yesterday, as Kamala Harris took her vice presidential oath of office, the crowd grew anxious. Well, this popcorn just got cold, one QAnon supporter wrote. When do the arrests start? Another one questioned. When do the arrests start? Y'all need to stop. Stop. This is hilarious. But as noon arrived and a grinning Biden placed his hand on a Bible to be sworn in as the 46th president of the United States, reality came crashing down. Quote, I can't stop crying. F, why? One person pleaded. It's over, another conceded. This is hilarious. Quote, how could we believe this for so long? We are all idiots. You are all idiots. That's a damn good question. What makes you think? What evidence did you have that Donald Trump was concerned with anything other than his own self? What'd you see? I didn't see anything but the most narcissistic, self-absorbed, delusional man that I've ever seen in any kind of leadership position, right? Any kind of elected position in my adult lifetime. I'm not gonna say it's never happened before, but by my recollection, I ain't never seen that before. I ain't never seen it before. Somebody wrote, because you always got people that want to holding on. It must be true. It must be true. Somebody wrote, there is no way Trump would have let this go on if there wasn't a plan. I trust Trump. How much longer can I continue? I don't know. God help us. This is hilarious. I mean, cue the circus. Where is P.T. Barnum? Cue the fucking circus music. Man, they should not be allowed to vote. I'm just telling you. Don't put me in charge. Somebody write, okay, let it all out. We'll all get through this together. I'm sorry, we'll all get through anything together. So some people are going to stick to it. We'll all get through this together. Y'all need to stop. This is hilarious, man. These QAnon folks, man, I guess, people want to believe in something, so they grappled onto that to believe in, right? I guess so. 513-873 7134. I find it to be hilarious. Absolutely hilarious to me. I want to put that on your radar screen. I'm not sure if you heard about that. So while you maybe and your family were celebrating, or you were like, okay, what's going to happen next? Some people were just celebrating because, it's the elevation of the first woman of color to the vice presidency, which I think is historic. Listen, think about this, family. Think about this. In our lifetime, look at the history that we've seen. We saw the first black man, the first person of color to ever become president. And now, within our lifetime, the first female, the first woman, and also the first woman of color to ever become the vice president of the United States. She is this close to becoming the president of the United States. We are living in historic times. The question is, where do we go from here? Where's Ice Cube at? I'm going to go to Ice Cube's Twitter. I want to see Ice Cube come out with that same energy when he was talking all that nonsense before the election, talking about, I was working with Trump. Shoot, I'm going to work with anybody that want to work with me. Anybody answer my phone call, I'm going to answer the phone call. Okay, idiot. Remember back when he wouldn't do a Zoom call with Kamala Harris, who's now vice president, and I told you it was the dumbest thing ever? Where y'all at? I don't want to be on no Zoom call with other celebrities. Where y'all at? Mofos got mad at me, got real mad at me. Stop. I ain't going to listen to your dumb show, your little show. I hate your show anyway, because I kept it real with you in my opinion about what I saw. Now's the fucking time, Ice Cube. Where you at? Where you at? I want to see it. If we don't see it, it ain't something right. Something ain't right. Something ain't right. I'm working with anybody. Shoot, I'm about that agenda. Okay. Sure. Okay, we'll see. But hey, we'll see what happens. They just got sworn in yesterday. Right? Y'all missed that. People got mad at me, man. I had to listen. I ain't fucking with you no more. I hate your show. I don't like your show no way. Okay, great. Okay, I hear you, B. All right, we'll holler. We'll holler at you. I ain't gonna stop doing what I do, but okay. I mean, it is what it is. And where's Cube? Where's Cube? Where's the agenda at now? I want to see it. Now we know who's running things for the next 4 years. Now's the effing time. Now is really the time. Because if you're looking for if you're somebody on that national black agenda tip, now it is the time. There is no better time to push for any agenda. But let's just talk about the black agenda. There is no better time to push for a black agenda. There's no better time on the national level to hold Biden-Harris accountable to our agenda, our priority and policy goals. There's no better time right now because they need us. And the conversation goes something like this. Where you at? Or we ain't showing up for you in 2 years in 2022 because they need us. Biden-Harris would not be in office if it wasn't for black voters, period. Y'all need us. Oh, you got a majority, huh? Oh, we got a majority. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. For the next 2 years. But what about after that? If they want, and by they I'm talking about Biden Harris and everybody involved with Biden Harris, if you want to have a 4-year term where you can actually put your ideas in place without having to deal with Mitch McConnell, because that's what you do. You leverage Mitch McConnell against Biden. It's either you want to deal with us or you want to deal with Mitch McConnell. Which is it? That's what you do. Now's the time. It wasn't 7 months ago. Now is the time. There's not a better time because they need us. Look at it. Look at Georgia. Look at South Carolina. They need us. So you can either play ball with the black electorate and implement the black agenda, or you can put Mitch McConnell back in charge as Senate Majority Leader. And you already know that Mitch, Moscow Mitch. So in that way, Moscow Mitch can be a good friend of the black agenda. Holla if you hear me out there. I know it's some smart, intelligent people that know that Nathan Ivey knows what the fuck he's talking about. Now is the time. It wasn't 2 months ago. It wasn't 3 months ago. It's right now. Right? Not in 2 years. Don't let them play you like that. Oh, well, we'll talk about it after the midterm. Okay. No, you'll be talking with Mitch McConnell as the new, old, now new again, foreseeably could happen, Senate Majority Leader. You don't want that to happen because Mitch gonna come in running things. It's like, I don't think you should really have a Supreme Court. That's how you play it. So does the Biden administration want to deal with the black electorate and the black agenda, or do you want to put Mitch back in charge? You choose. Simple as that. And that's what fucking time it is. There wasn't a time 2 weeks before the election. Oh, you just want to put it. That wasn't the time. Bad timing. Great idea. Bad timing. Now is the time. Because if you're a first term elected official, what do you want more than anything else in most cases? A second term. And you're not getting a second term if you don't go through us, period. Nobody can deny that. Nobody can deny that. So it's show and tell time. It's show and prove time, should I say. All right, before we get too deep in the show, family, I want to take a second, hey, what's up, Philip? I want to take a quick second to get a word from our sponsor this morning. It's very, very important. We're talking about why Biden should go ham, as in hard as a motherfucker. He should go ham this morning. But again, a word from our sponsor, and we'll be right back.
It's that well-born experience. It's that well-born experience. That well-born experience. 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 It's that well-born experience. Yeah. That well-born experience. Yeah. That well-born experience. Experience. Tell us what you need. That's the question we start with. We specialize selling condos, houses, apartments. Make sure that you're happy with your residence. Keep it real, no filter. Oh, it's the realtor from the nattiest heaven sent. It's the well-born experience. Ain't nothing like it. Every time he talk to his client, he's so excited just knowing he able to put them in a place to lay their head. Not focusing on his profits, but on the client instead. Right. He keeps it so professional and from his conversation. You can tell he studies before sharing information. Educated, motivated, ain't nobody better. Who's willing to walk you through every step to relieve the pressure. Yeah. And just so you know it's real, you get a special personalized rug once he closes the deal. So go and call him up so he can get you live. 513-252-1055.
You know that's dope. Somebody got bars. Someone's got bars. But again, if you're interested in a new space, check out Otis Wellborn Jr. Realtor. You can go to their website this morning at thewellbornexperience.com. Their phone number is 513-252-1055. Again, 513-252-1055. And do your boy a favor and make sure you tell Team Wellborn that you heard about it on the Nathan Ivey Show. Again, a great way of supporting me in this platform is supporting the people that support me in this platform. Support our sponsors. That's Black owned. All right, back to it. You hear more this morning. I know you want to hear it again. I know you do. And you will. And you will. It's very, very catchy. Again, I'll put up again for folks just so you make sure you get it in. TeamWellbornExperience.com. Check them out. That's their website. TeamWellborn@gmail.com. That's the email address. And the number 513-252-1055. All right, let's get back into it. 513-873-7134. 4. So I told you about the QAnon folks. That is hilarious. We've been scammed into believing Q, one QAnon supporter said yesterday on Telegram. Telegram is another app, social media app. What now? What now? I mean, it's just amazing. I know I got a different sense. Why are you laughing at these people? Because they clowns. Don't you go to circus and laugh at clowns? I know I do. That's why I'm laughing at the clowns. You want to act like a clown? I'm going to treat you like a clown and laugh at this nonsense. Want to talk about that? Most definitely. I'm here for all of that. Let me set the table a little bit. CPS board votes against reconsidering return to blended learning February 1st, and they released a transition plan. So if you go back to Saturday, CPS voted on a transition plan. But last night they had a meeting, and Mike Morawski, white male Democrat, true to his word, he came on this show yesterday, true to his word, he said he was going to do that. He did just that. He said he was going to bring it up again. So he reintroduced it. And I like it. So now we know people are on the record, because some of these people are going to be running for re-election. And I just, listen, anybody doing any kind of forums, please allow me to be the moderator. I'm going hard. I'm going super hard in public. I'm going to show all of it in public. Please allow me to be the moderator. I'm already there. I'm looking forward to this, because this will not be the last time we had these conversations. And I think on the record, in front of everybody, in front of the public, face to face, we need to have these conversations. And I am just the man to do it. I'm just the man to do it. Because what's the repercussion? Somebody gonna get mad? Okay. Well, and so what? I can't wait for this election season, quite honestly. But the Board of Education, BOE, the Board of Education determined on Saturdays that schools will reuse a phased-in plan to return to blended learning starting February 1st. The problem with that is that that's before all teachers and administrators and staff get vaccinated. Can somebody explain the logic to me in that? I'm struggling with the logic. I talked to Mike yesterday, Mike Morawski. He think the way I'm thinking. He don't understand either. Why would you wait? You all right, son? Okay. It's funny when you got a 6-year-old. He just flashes past the door. Come on in. Come on in. Say good morning. Good morning. All right, I love you. No, you can't stay with Daddy, but Daddy doing his thing. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff on there. I love you. You know, that's why I do what I do. That's where my passion, my energy for this topic and all these topics come from. I got skin in the game. And even if I didn't, I'd still be pissed about it because it don't make sense. Explain to me, make this make sense to me. We are in the middle of a global pandemic, okay? By the government in Ohio's own color-coded system, we are at the highest point in terms of infection rate. We are in the purple. CPS staff has not been vaccinated yet, and they will not be vaccinated prior to February 1st. But the school board wants the kids to go back to school. Now, I understand March 1st, the governor is sort of like putting pressure on you. I told you the governor's not your friend. I told you that. Mike DeWine got to go. I told you that. I told you from the beginning. People was running around like, oh, Mike DeWine is different. No, look, he's not. He needs to go. Sidebar. Okay? But that's like a 30-day difference between February 1st and March 1st. Okay? That's a big difference there. Why will we have children go back into the school? Why will we expose the adults, the teachers, the administrators, the staff before everybody gets vaccinated? Now, after the vaccinations, okay, that makes a little bit more sense. But I don't know about you, but if you look down the road just a little bit on the horizon and not too far away, that's the end of the school year. The school year is almost over with. The other problem with going back to in-class learning is that it's patently unfair. It's unfair. It's unfair because, and I read this article from WCPO this morning, that CPS is not going to provide virtual learning in the school with the primary teacher. So what does that mean? So that means that if your child wants to have access to their primary teacher, the only way they can do it is they send their kid to school. It would be different if CPS is like, okay, listen, we're going to give you a choice. You can stay home or you can go to school. And either way, you got access to your teacher. Okay. I can understand that. Because now students have access to their primary teacher. You know, this way, the only way you have access to your primary teacher, and again, correct me if I'm wrong here. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to be wrong. I want to be factual. If I'm factually in error, please set me straight. Please disabuse me of my folly. You know what I'm saying? So that's patently unfair. So the only way I can get access for my child to their primary teacher, which is where they need to be to get the best quality, is I have to brave COVID-19. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Walnut Hills High School will also move out of distance learning and follow an A-B blended learning schedule. The district said details and timing of that schedule will be shared soon. So is it going to be 1 day a week? Tell me how that makes sense. Why would that make any sense whatsoever? To have students to go to school 1 day a week. Why? I'm struggling with this. Why? So you want parents, students, and staff to brave getting COVID-19 for 1 day of in-class instruction. And we're 3 months away from the end of the school year at the highest infection rate. And so what I'm picking up on is that the Cincinnati School Board is doing a Daniel Cameron. Remember Daniel Cameron? Daniel Cameron, he had a lot of information for which to make his decision. He's the AG down in Kentucky. He made a decision about not charging the officers in the Breonna Taylor case. And so as I understand it, and again, for folks who may have a better understanding, tell me I'm wrong if I'm wrong. Basically, Daniel Cameron had a lot of information. He just cherry picked what he wanted to listen to and what he wanted to do what he wanted to do. And that's what CPS is doing. It sounds to me, and from what I'm reading and what I watch, it's like they're just kind of picking the data that fits what they want to do rather than looking at the totality of it. That's what I see. And the real question is, and this is where it comes to the public, is what's the consequence of all of this? The reality is I fear that there are no real consequences. I mean, if you Eve Bolton or Carolyn Jones or Pam Bowers or, I was looking at the last election results Eve Bolton got 29,000 votes. Carolyn Jones got 28,000 votes. Ben Lindy got 19,000 votes. Okay? 29,000 votes, 28,000 votes. Man, that's city council votes. So if you're Eve Bolton and Carolyn Jones, they might be sitting back like, who cares what they think? We're going to get reelected. What's the consequence? That Nathan Ivey's going to say something on a radio show on the internet? Where's the consequence at? There's no real consequences for them. So what? You don't like it. Big deal. I'm just telling you. Now, Eve Bolton, Carolyn Jones, and Ben Lindy, they're not up for re-election, as I understand it, because they just run for re-election. That's the other thing. They don't have to come before the people this year. It's going to be the other members of City Council, of the Cincinnati School Board that's going to come before us. So they've got that. I wonder if that's a part of it. They're like, by the time we got to get reelected, y'all done forgot. And then Eve Bolton, Carolyn Jones, they got the Democrat nomination. So they like, we got to support the party. We got 28,000 votes minimum last time. What y'all going to do about it? I wonder if there's a little bit of that arrogance involved with this as well. I'm just being honest with you. I mean, who don't like it? I don't care. So what? I'm keeping it real with you. 100%. It's bigger than any individual and personality. It's about our babies. All that don't like it, I don't give a damn. So what? My Democrat fans don't like it. So what? And what? I don't like a lot of ish that you do. So what? It is what it is. So there's a little bit of this. I wonder if there's some of that in there. It's like, what you gonna do about it? That's what Carolyn Jones said on her Facebook page. I'm not stepping down. Why would she? If I'm her, I ain't stepping down either. You can't make me. So who cares? You don't like it? Big deal. It's just like when the school board voted for FC Cincinnati Stadium. A lot of people didn't like it. Did it have an impact on her getting reelected or anybody else that made a decision? No. So if I'm a member of the school board, I'm looking at the public like, what you going to do about it? Facts on facts on facts. What you going to do about it? Nothing. But I'm going to do what I do. You know what I'm saying? This is what I do. Regardless of what the outcome is, I keeps it real per my opinion. So I'm just telling you, I mean, in terms of the public in a very, very serious way, you know, if we're not organized to really put some real pressure on these individuals, including the school board, then what difference does it make? Ben Lindy got 19,000 votes. How many interviews has Ben Lindy done since he's been elected to the school board? I'm sure he's done some. Has he talked to any black media? He was on our show 2-3 times. Once he got elected, won't respond to emails. What's the consequence? I told y'all about him. What's the consequence? We also have no black male representation on on the school board. No black men on the school board whatsoever. Is that a part of the problem? I don't know. I'm just keeping it real with you. I mean, at the end of the day, bellyaching is one thing, but action, political action, making a move, that's something completely different. I would love that one led to the other. I'd love to be a part of that. Let's do it. Let's do it. But again, I mean, if you're a member of the school board, why would you? You ain't what you scared of? Nothing. Yeah. I mean, they hear parents bellyaching about stuff that's happening to their kids in real time and nothing happens. So why, if you a member of the school board right now, if you Eve Bolton, if you Carolyn Jones, if you Pam Bowers, if you Ryan Messer, if you're what's the other one's name? Forgets me. I feel who all of them. Why would you care? What they gonna do? Bellyache about it, and then in 2 or 3 months, you know, it'll be summertime. People will be like, the sunshine, and they'll forget about it. I'm just keeping it real with you all the way. 100. But there still needs to be some serious questions that are asked. And even though I said that, don't believe anybody can lose a spot. I don't care who it is. Anybody can. You can be running for re-election. Anything can happen during the campaign. So I want to make sure we're clear about that. Power to the people. If you're a concerned parent and you're a voter, you got to say so. It's got to organize. You see here. So here's what the transition to blended learning will look like. February 1st, grades PK through 3 in specialized classrooms. On Monday, all students are going to distance. Tuesday through Friday, specialized classrooms and preschool in person. Tuesday and Wednesday, K through Group A in person. Thursday and Friday, K through 3, Group B in person. So that means kids K through 3 will go to school on Tuesday and 2 days a week. Starting the week of February 15th, grades 4 through 6 and 9 through 12 will return. On Monday, all students will distance. Tuesday and Wednesday, grades 4 through 6 and 9 through 12, Group A in person. And then on Thursday and Friday, grades 4 through 6 and 9 through 12, Group B will be in person, okay? Week of March 1st, grades 7 through 8 will return. Monday, all students will distance, so it seems that's consistent. Monday will be a day off for everybody in terms of being in class. Tuesday and Wednesday, Group A, and Thursday and Friday, Group B. The district said a remote from current school option will not be available district-wide due to staffing and technology constraints. So again, that's where it becomes unfair. It becomes unfair now because if you're someone who's COVID sensitive, it becomes unfair. We'll have to wait and see in terms of, legal ramifications because, for me, it seems very unfair. Like if you're dealing with somebody that's got some kind of underlying issue at home, and so therefore I am being penalized because I don't want my kid to bring COVID home, and now my kid is being penalized because my kid cannot get to their primary teacher and everybody else has access to the primary teacher. That's one thing. Now, maybe the workwear around that is that, again, we'll have to see how it goes because, to be honest with you, CPS, this has been complicated the way it's come about. And again, I understand on some levels because who expected this to happen? But I think that, and Mike Morosky said this, it's all about consistency, whether it's consistency in class or out of class. And while a lot of people don't like being out of class because they're belly aching and they don't want to take care of their kids anymore, I feel like there's a lot of that going on. And then they're just throwing up like, oh, well, it's not good for the kids. You know, they're using it as a window dressing. I believe there's some of that going on. I don't think that explains every scenario, but I really believe there's a lot of that going on. It's about, I got things to do and can't take care of my kids. But so if everybody's going to be in virtual learning 3 days a week, then does that mean that the parents and the students that are remote learning will be in virtual academy, or will they be with those other children that are doing virtual learning, but 2 days a week they're in class? Again, it gets very, very complicated. That's why I say I'm for simplifying things, keeping things simple. And then the other thing is that, I believe that the superintendent, that's Laura Mitchell, and also the school board came up with this whole thing of criteria as to what they would be looking for. I have to go back through my notes. I believe there was a whole list of criteria that they would be looking for in terms of making a decision to return to in-school learning. And I don't think we've hit any of those. So that's the other problem that CPS has had, is that CPS told us that they were going to look at the data. Oh, we're going to look at the data. We're going to look at the data. We're going to look at the data. But then they make a decision that's not based on the data. So, I mean, keep it consistent, CPS school board. I mean, whatever it is whatever it is. But don't tell parents, don't tell the city that you're going to look at the data. Oh, we're going to look at the data. Oh, we're going to look at the data. How are we going to make our decision? We're going to look at the data. And then here we are in purple. You couldn't be looking at the data. There must be some other factors involved with this. What is it? What are the real factors? Or again, I do have some interviews set up. I'll let you know when we get close to the date and who we'll be talking with. I can't wait. Because I want to hear the thought pattern, and I leave this door open that maybe we just need to hear it from the school board members that voted this way directly for themselves. And then once we do, it'll be like, oh, okay, well, I don't like it, but I can understand it. So right now, I don't like it and I don't understand it, which is a really bad place for any adult to be in. When you can understand something, even if you don't like it, well, I understand it. So I think there needs to be a level of education from the Cincinnati school board members to the public so we can raise our level of understanding. Whether we like it or not is to decide. But understanding, I think, is very, very important. What do you think? What do you think about the plans? Are you happy about it? I know there's some people in the audience who are like, woohoo, woohoo, yeah, in-school learning. Okay, great. Everybody's got a different perspective and a different experience. So CPS transitioned to a distance learning model in November due to pandemic-related staffing challenges. Now, if you remember, I was someone who thought that CPS never should have returned. They should have kept it from that same point instead of going back and forth and exposing people. But CPS decided to do what they want to do, and what happened? Oops, we don't have the staff because people are getting sick, right? Then they had to stop everything, break the continuity of the students, and go to in-school learning. Go to virtual learning. Just keep it consistent. I don't understand. Why is that so hard? I don't get it. Why is it so hard to say, okay, our students and the staff need consistency. This is what we're going to do. Like I said, to me, in the analogy that I've been using, and I'll continue to use it, is that if your house was on fire and you called the fire department, you would come running out. You try to grab a few little, valuables or things that you think are important, keepsakes, a picture of your grandma and them or whatever, baby pictures of your kids or your lockbox with all of your secure information and your Bitcoin key passes and key cards, and you would run outside, right? And you would not return to the house until the fire was completely extinguished. In this example, it's like the fire department said, you know what, we put the fire out upstairs in your bedroom. Now the fire's still going on in the basement, but it's all clear to go back inside the house. You would never do that. So why are we doing that with COVID? What's wrong with waiting until we beat COVID, until the numbers all the way around say that the infection rate is on the decline? The coast is clear. No danger, and then go back. I don't understand the problem with that. I don't get it. We made a sacrifice this long. I don't get it. But maybe you do. Maybe you do. Hold on, I'm getting a message here. Yeah, I'm getting a call here, quite honestly. Let's take it. Let's take it. Good morning to you. Hold on. Let's get it right. Hey, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Miss Tracy. How are you?
I'm doing good, Tracy. Welcome.
I had to call because I'm trying to figure out what's so hard to understand about what these school districts are doing. You have a governor who sent out a letter to all the districts basically saying, get your asses back in school or I'm cutting your funding off. And they conform to the plan, all except for 3 districts. I'd like to know who those 3 districts are in Ohio who are brave enough to say no. But it's not hard for me to understand that these districts are putting money before our children. It's just everybody is following the leader of the state. And it's like, if they tell you they're cutting your funding off or they're reducing your funding, sure, they're going to run laps to get these kids back in school because they don't want to drown any more than they already are. The choice that parents have to make, rather than say, oh, let's just get rid of the school board, let's get rid of the superintendent, pick up the phone and call somebody and say, guess what? My kid isn't coming back. And if enough parents do that, let's see what the governor's going to do then. I talked to the assistant principal in my district yesterday, and I said, are all of the kids returning March 1st? And she said, that's the plan. But they had already put a provision in the guidelines where if your kids wanted to be virtual, they can stay virtual. My kid isn't going back. You're not going to tell me where I'm going to put my kid. Send the truancy officer here. You're not going to tell me that I'm going to send my kid back into an unsafe environment where we are the only county in the state that's purple. And then he comes home and brings that SHIT back and we're supposed to just deal with it. I'm not doing it. So we can sit around and we can complain and we can, interview people and see what they're thinking. It's obvious what they're thinking. Wealth before health. And it's your kid. It's them bringing the virus potentially to your home. So if you don't want it, don't send your kids back. We need to quit acting like we don't have options because we do. And that's all I wanted to say about it this morning.
Yeah, appreciate the call. Well, 2 things. I think there is a lot of truth in what you said. But I also think there's a process to everything. And so I think there's a real value and utility to bringing and having public conversations with elected officials. Off the top, I don't give a damn what we think the governor's going to do. We need to hear directly from the people that's making the decision. But also, there's something there as well. So maybe the conversation is, okay, Cincinnati Public School Board, this is what you got to do. Why don't we have a provision so that children can remain in their school with their teacher and still be virtual? What is the process for that? Because it's unfair to force COVID-sensitive parents to have to make a decision as to whether your kid is going to be completely removed from their home school and their home teacher, or you got to brave COVID. That's unfair. And that's what the crux of the issue is. And anytime you're dealing with elected officials, it's always an option. See, I'm for a recall measure for all elected officials throughout the state. I don't care if it's school board, CPS, mayor. I don't care what it is. We need a recall measure for times like this or unforeseeable times when you feel like your people that you voted for that elected you aren't representing you. So I hear you on that, but hell nah. When they running for school board, where they go? They go straight to the media. Okay, then. So when the school board is having some issues, you should come straight to the media and talk to us about your process. What's your thought pattern? And who knows, Tracy, when I talk with these school board members, they might say just that. They might say, well, we're forced to because, Mike DeWine's going to pull the money. Okay, I want to hear it. But then that takes us to the next question. So why don't we have a provision that's put in place to ensure that CPS can make sure that all students in virtual can stay in their schools? What's wrong with that? And the other question is, why does it have to start on February 1st? Because it does not have to start on February 1st. That's the other part about it. March 1st and February 1st are 30 days between each other. Well, actually, it's 28 days, shortest day of the month, right? Is it 28 or 29 this year? Let me double check. Hold on real quick. 28 days this year. So we got 28 days, or essentially 4 weeks. That's a 4-week difference. Especially when you're considering the vaccine. What is it, a 2 to 3 week difference between the vaccine? So, nobody can tell me there aren't options there. Nobody can tell me there aren't options there. I'm sorry. And at least there's one CPS school board member that feels like there are options. Like sometimes you got to do the right thing, even though you might have to deal with some headwind, period, across the board, especially when you're dealing with our babies. So I hear you, but nah. Hell no. Let's go to the, and I'm saying like in terms of not holding people accountable and having, please, that's what we do. We're going to do that. We need to hear it. It ain't enough to think I know. I want to hear it from the people that's making the decision. I want to hear them say it. And that's called accountability. We deserve that at the very least. We deserve more than just to be able to watch a video from the school board. We need to be able to hear individually from these individuals. That's why they do interviews, Tracy. So Tanika writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Pamela writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Sharp writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. King Kobla writes, Facebook locked up. They don't let me out. In my Akon voice. Damn, man. What happened? Damn. King Kobla writes, I bet I can't tell how many black people been shot from no-knock warrants in the past 6 months after Breonna Taylor. DB Cooper's in the house. Good morning. I'm here because I'm taking a break from series editing. If anyone wants to do some voiceovers and narrate the thing, hit me up. I will send the scripts over the weekend. I need the work by Wednesday. Oh, hit me up, DB. You already know, bro. Hit me up. Hit me up. Brother Mazone writes, good morning, Choppers. Tracy writes, hi. Ray writes, here. Brother Mazone writes, King Kobla, I'm here in the Facebook cell just above you. I've been here since December, 30 days lockdown, LOL. Damn, man. They got you in lockdown, bro? That's why I said, I ain't had no sympathy for Trump because I know people that get locked down that's got far less influence than the president and said far less or tweeted or typed or retweeted or reposted far less dangerous things. And they got put in Facebook jail way before all this stuff happened with Donald Trump. I know people was like, oh, this is a slippery slope. What you talking about? People already getting banned on Facebook. What you talking about? That's already been happening. Then, Facebook, what happened with Donald Trump? He should have been stopped a long time ago, but that was money. Social media used Donald Trump for clicks. He was clickbait. They used him to have a big impact on Twitter. And then when he did something that everybody was against and they had the public was really watching, they tried to save face and cut him off Facebook. That's what really happened. But he deserved to be cut off social media a long time ago. They need to keep the ban. It should be a lifetime ban, quite honestly. I'll say it again. When he started all that birtherism stuff, they should have blocked him then. They should have blocked him then, but, it is what it is. Brother Stone writes, y'all see that young queen spit her poem yesterday? That inauguration didn't deserve that queen gracing the Capitol. I've got that clip. Yes, I did. Pat writes, good morning. DB Cooper writes, I didn't watch one solitary minute of the inauguration. Priorities. Much ado about nothing. Nothing will change for black folks. In fact, still gonna get worse, but y'all stay friends. Maybe you're right. I don't know. I'll tell you this much, DB Cooper. Here's my personal belief that nothing's gonna change for black folks until black folks change it. Period. Simple as that. And just look at the city of Cincinnati where you had a group of dedicated black folks and white folks that came together to make some changes with our police department. I think that there are examples around us every day of what a small group of dedicated people can do. A small group of dedicated people can move mountains and reposition clouds. It has happened before. It can happen again. I think if we take the attitude, ain't nothing going to happen, as if we're waiting for Biden Harris to do something for us, that's ultimately a self-defeating kind of attitude, in my opinion. It ain't about Biden Harris, per se. It's about us. It's about you, DB Cooper. If you want something to change wherever you live at, then you got to change it. Simple as that. So you're right. Biden Harris just like Obama, Biden, just like Trump, Pence, and any other presidential combination in the future is not going to change the situation on your block. You're going to have to do that. It's got to be you. What? Is this, I can't see this. Stimmy Hardaway? What? Y'all still debating symbolism and spectacles, but no laws have changed, nor have they been proposed. Effing great. Well, what I would say, Hardaway, is what law are you proposing? What laws do you propose that we put in place? I mean, you don't have to have a whole big group behind you to come up with some policy. You don't have to have that. If you feel like there's a law you want to change, put it out there, bro. Let's see it. Ashley writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Tracy writes, those dummies got played. I'm not sure what she's speaking of. Brenda writes, oh, she's talking about the QAnon folks. They did get played. Brenda writes, happy Thursday. All these women wearing pearls and chucks. Can they stop gas from becoming $3 a gallon again? No. What changed? Well, what changed is that we got the first female and the first woman of color to be the vice president. And so what does that mean exactly, Hardaway? Well, what that means is it's all about potential. Because, I mean, it's cynical, but it's also really, it's also kind of naive. I got to be honest with you, Hardaway. It's like, you like being over the board cynical with it. And what I mean by that is, perhaps, and we won't know, but perhaps the elevation of this sister, right, Kamala Harris, might inspire somebody. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? I saw images of young women on HBCUs and their tears and their feelings thinking, wow, I can do this. Who knows? It might spark the next generation of entrepreneurs or political activists. Who knows? We don't know. But the real question, Hardaway, is not what Biden changed. I'm going to say this again. It's what you're going to change. That's the real question. That's the real question, bro. Sitting around talking about, oh, they had on chucks and pearls. I mean, I hear you, but I don't feel you. The real question is, what are you going to do? What's your policy idea? What are you going to put in place? It ain't about Biden, Harris. Those are just tools. Those are just levers. That's on the national level. If you live here in Cincinnati, or let's say you live in Dayton, what are you going to do in Dayton to change Dayton? That's the real question. I'm just telling you. Tanika writes, some of these QAnon folks still believe it's going to happen. Yes, they do. It's hilarious. Mason Marler writes, black conservative makes got played the Herman Cain. Y'all see Bernie like weight pulling like a kindergartner? What? I saw Bernie with his little mittens on, with his coat on. I saw that. CG Dubs in the house. She writes, good morning, Choppers. Tracy, who just called in, she said, my child ain't going back, period. That's the prerogative. Again, my only concern is that it's separate but unequal. So yeah, you got the right to keep your kid in virtual learning in CPS, but they're not going to stay in their school. They're not going to have access to their teacher while they're in virtual learning. How's that fair? How's that fair? Again, maybe I got the wrong understanding of it. So when we talk with the school board members, maybe they'll enlighten us. That would be great. Mason Marler writes, where's Donald Trump and Katrina Pearson? Ain't nobody ever seen anybody seen Candace Owens? Diamond and Silk? I'll wait. Where are black conservatives who supported Donald Trump the last 4 years? They missing like Jeff Pastor's former staffers. Jeff Pastor, former staffers. Damn. See, that's the unfortunate thing about what happened, even more unfortunate with these city council members, because where they all had staffs, and these staffs had family members, and they're trying to put food on the table. So when the council person goes down, the staff goes down. I need a new job. So I don't know where the staffers are. What did he say? Candace Owens, Diamond and Silk, they now are going to turn Trump into a martyr. Their voices are going to get even louder inside the conservative media echo chamber. They're not going anywhere. They make too much money with it. CG Dub writes, you know why, Nate? There's money involved. Broadway Flow writes, why y'all worrying about one day? Joseph says schools are reopening within 100 days. I mean, when 100 days, school year be over with then. None of what you're saying matters, Nate. They're not scared of parents. They're scared of the governor. I think that's a self-defeatist attitude. Your voice always matters. Your voice always matters. I can't believe that. You can get rid of this whole board and the superintendent and hire a new one. The plan will still come from the state and districts will still be in lockstep. It is what it is. CPS don't make a decision, the governor did. That was plain and simple. Looking at the last school board meeting, it was all BS. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. But again, I know at least one school board member that thinks otherwise, Tracy. Sounds good. Sounds good. That's what they want us to think. Oh, you don't have no power. Your voice, that's what they want us to think. I don't believe it. Anthony writes, good morning, Choppers. Good morning to you. Tiffany writes, I'm on Facebook now. If it appears CPS voted to reopen the schools because in order for the teachers to get their vaccine early, the district has to have a plan. Not to mention those annoying parents on the CPS page who insist that the social life of the child is far more, give me 1 second. It's far more important than staying safe from the virus. They insist that the safest place for children is in the school. It's disturbing. I don't get it. So you're telling me that the safest place for a child is in the school and not at home? I don't buy that. I'm sorry. Renee writes, let them know from the jump. I agree. Absolutely. Charles writes, ridiculous. The kids are about to be in the third quarter. They should continue with the virtual learning model and return to in-person learning in the fall. Danita writes, do parents still have the remote option, or with this new vote, did they take that away? No, you still have the remote option, but for next year, if you remain remote, you can go back to your school. But for this year, if you're remote, you will not have access to your primary teacher. So let's say your child has a primary set of teachers. They won't have access to them when they're remote. But you still have the option. May writes, I wish the reporters would have asked, what is the racial equity plan? That's a very good question. I'll ask about that as well. Willie writes, took it away. Joe writes, here's an email sent out. Dear parents, guardians, and caregivers, early this evening, we shared the phase-in timeline below with the Board of Education. I think I just read that. Yeah, okay. Thank you so much for that, Joe. I think I read that as well. Willie writes, okay. I think I said already. Natasha writes, Trump has made enough people mad. We need less emotions and more motion. I'm with you on that one. We need policy that affects real people, everyday working class people, black and white. If you want your child to be virtual full time, they will be in virtual. I put my son in virtual at the beginning of the school year. So Tiffany's like, we in virtual for the whole school year. I respect it. I know parents like that. That is an option. Danita writes, replying to Glenn, we need a segment of this show dedicated to American government. Here in Ohio, we took it in 11th grade. Some people need a refresher. I have a family member who is a high school AP history teacher. Maybe we can share some knowledge. I'm down with it. Let me know. I'm open. Andrea writes, good morning, Nate and Facebook friends. Good morning to you. Danita writes, Tiffany Walker, so remote at each school isn't an option, but parents can enroll in virtual to keep their kids at home. Correct. Tanya writes, she's on YouTube. Happy Thursday, Nate and Choppers. Good morning to you. Dale writes, good morning, Nate and Choppers. Pardon my attire. I just came fresh from working out this morning. I had to get it in this morning. Tiffany writes, yes, and your child will keep their spot at the original school. Yes, that's all consistent to my knowledge as well. Thank you for sharing, Tiffany. Deshaun writes, that's hilarious. Talking about the QAnon folks. Delusional. Right. And let them believe what they believe, right? Oh, man. Charles writes to Joe, well, looks like they're giving parents an option to enroll their children in virtual academy. I don't see too many parents of children enrolled in Walnut Hills High School exercising this option. David writes, the curtain has been pulled back. Yes, it is. Tanika writes, and good morning to we had a great conversation with Tanika and her daughter Giselle yesterday in her book. And I know a lot of people said they copped it already. I'm going to get a couple of copies myself. I think it's important to support our future generation of our young geniuses, right? We got to support that Black excellence. So I thought it was a great interview. I got a really good response from that conversation yesterday. QAnon still do believe this. Yes, they do, unfortunately. Deshaun writes, Trump ain't nothing but a bad tan clown. I use the word clown because, there was so much stuff we lied at. But again, I want to make this point. I can't overlook this. There are some things you can learn from the Trump administration. There's some things you can learn from the Trump administration. There's some things that you can learn from the Trump administration. Charles writes, I don't think Bill would offer a man and a woman the same type of drink. Let's hope not. I mean, I'm just telling you, if I go to Bill Cosby's house and you know what I'm saying, he like, you thirsty? Man, I can be, my throat can feel like a desert. I can barely talk. Nah, I'm cool, man. I just drank a whole gallon of water. I'm cool, Bill. Sorry. I mean, thank you anyway, Bill. You want something to drink? No, I'm cool. I'm cool. Sister Iris is in the house. She writes, good morning, great people. So let me give you an update. I get a chance to watch what happened via City Cable. They have a Facebook page. You can go to their Facebook page where they post all of the meetings and you can watch them. You don't have to go to City Cable website. It's much more convenient to go to their Facebook page. And I got a chance to watch the Law and Public Safety Committee, and it was brought up, the motion that Sister Iris and Chris Silbach and others came on the show and talked about on I think that was Tuesday we talked about it, right? Day before? It was Tuesday. And essentially the recommendation was to, the chair of Law and Public Safety, that's Christopher Smitherman, black male independent. Essentially his biggest concern was he felt like he wanted to get the input of the, hold on, we got John on the line. We'll talk to John here in a second. Hold on 1 second here. Hey, John, give me 1 second. I'll bring you straight on, brother. Appreciate the call. But essentially, he wanted to, in the majority of that particular Law and Public Safety Committee, they want to allow the chief of police to look at it, analyze it, give his input on it before they vote on a recommendation for it to go to full council. If I'm wrong in that, Iris, please set me straight and give us the correct information. But that's what I gathered from it. That's what I gathered from it. And it makes you wonder, so why wasn't he made aware of this from the jump? And, I can understand it on some levels. What I don't want to see happen with it is just becomes buried and it just becomes like something that just gets forgotten. Members of that committee, including Steve Gooden, who was recently appointed. That's the white male Republican that was appointed to replace the black male Republican. Again, the Republican Party show they don't believe in diversity when it comes to leadership positions. They probably believe in diversity when it comes to other positions, but leadership positions on council, apparently they had 3 shots at it, and there are no black men or women that are qualified to represent the Republican Party on city council. I think it's quite amazing, in my opinion. But anyway, I thought that what Steve Goodwin had to say, I thought it was on point. I detected no issues with it whatsoever. So we'll see. It seemed like the members of the committee realized it's something that's important. I haven't read every part of the documents, so I'm no expert, but to me, it seems like a no-brainer. Let's make it happen. Let's get it done. Let me see. Glenn writes, if anything, we need to be more serious and actually look at the facts. Unfortunately, we have our own version of Black QAnon in the community. Yes, we do. Let's go to the phones and welcome in a familiar voice. That's John from Florida. What's up, John?
Good morning, Mr. Nathan Ivey and the good people of Cincinnati, as well as the good people around the world. And yes, those choppers. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Welcome.
Well, your flows coming out this morning as I was listening were very good. Before we get to Trump and his foolishness yesterday, as well as the poet laureate, Miss Amanda Gorman, interesting young 22-year-old young woman. Her speech was excellent. I think she should star in the next Black Panther movie, but we'll talk about that in a second. The flows you had with the young lady, the last previous caller were very good. I assuming you were debating about should kids have gone back to school or not. I'll keep saying it. I say it enough. Last year, if the idiot in the White House, Trump, had have shut this thing down, maybe it would have been in a better condition than we were before. But as I've stated many times, Trump had a plan, and his plan was to get reelected 3 years ago. So he took what Barack Obama told him to prepare himself for possibly virus coming down the pipeline. He took it and flushed it in the toilet and said, I'm not following that Negro. Well, you know, he probably said other words, but Trump had a plan, and that's to get reelected, affect as many Americans, and mainly focus on African American. Yes, I do agree with you, Mr. Nathan Ivey. Our black vote is powerful. Let's not get into that today. We'll deal with that another day. But, you know, Trump had a plan, and his plan backfired on him. We all saw that. Nobody anticipating the, should we call it insurrection, the revolution that Trump was planning. And basically the bottom line, you got to take Trump off the street. You got to arrest him. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but as far as I can say, you got to put this guy to rest. Keep going after all the thugs around him that are on the street, rounding up the feds, are lining the country, looking for these people. And when the investigation comes out, yes, there are some Republicans. Oh, finally, Cruz came from underneath the rock, huh? He was out there on the lawn saluting the new president. I want to see this guy kicked out of the Senate too. We'll see how these investigations plays out. But Mr. Nathan, you know as well as I know, deals are cut behind closed doors, and we may not get to know what those deals are. They're going to be cut with either locking Trump up or not locking him up, and that disturbs me. And you may ask me, well, why? Well, if you look back in time with Reagan and Bush, Senior Bush, ran contract crap, they should have been locked up under that. They broke laws. You go forward. And Clinton, no, I don't care about Clinton doing the nasty in the White House. That's a impeachment. That was a waste of our time. Then you go forward with Barack Obama. You go forward with Bush and Cheney, creating a Iraqi war that nobody did not want. Even war leaders were telling Bush and Cheney not to plan this war. You're going to disrupt the economic around the world. Well, they were arrogant. They didn't want to listen. Oh, they go out, and here come Barack Obama. He could have got Bush and Cheney. In his
Hey, John, you breaking up, bro?
Okay, can you hear me now? How's that?
Were you drinking water or something?
No, I'm standing by the phone because the signal in my room is a little weak unless I move to another area in the house, but I try to stay as still as possible. So you get to Trump, and you must agree with me, Mr. Nathan Ivey. Trump should be locked up. He basically has killed over 400,000 people, infected over close to 17 million people, shut down the country as quietly as the country and the media wants to tell you it's shut down. So now Biden is inheriting want to deal with the federal charges. Now those federal charges have to come because the outcry is roaring loud and clear. Your comment, sir, before we get to this poet laureate.
My comments is that I think that if you do the crime, you should do the time, whether you're the president or whoever you are. So I know he's got some serious state charges. He did not pardon himself or his members of his close personal family. If investigators find that he committed crimes, he should be held responsible. That's it. You know, my issue with Trump now is lesser than. You know, I think that he's a lesser than now. I think the real issue is an agenda for the people, for working class people, a black agenda to specifically address the historical injustices and inequities for black and brown people. I mean, I think that's what my focus is. But I think that the system should hold. If they find, and by they I mean investigators on the state and federal level, that there were crimes, they should hold them accountable. That's it. So what do you think about this poet laureate? 22 years old, I believe? She was dope.
Amanda Gorman.
Amanda Gorman, right.
Years old. If you go to YouTube, you'll see her on a lot of speeches across the country. She's very powerful. And as I indicated, I think she should star in the next Black Panther. I hope the Black Panther's listening. The director of the Black Panther is listening to the Nathan Ivey Show. Yes, try to submit her and get her in there. Well, a small role, but she's a very, very powerful young lady. Like you, I posted it on my website last night. She's up on my website, purehistory.org. Stroll down and you'll see Amanda Gorman making history. Very powerful speech. So, we're going to be watching her. I'm sure she's going to be invited to many venues coming down the line. And if you listen to the interview on CNN earlier this morning, she had a prediction that she may run for president in 2036.
Okay. 2036. How old will I be in 2036? I mean, I should still be here. Yeah, I should still be here. Raising up hell, kicking up dust.
I don't know if she was serious, but she smirked over it when Anderson Cooper was interviewing her this morning. But she very statue poised young lady, and you'll hear a lot more from her coming down the pipeline.
Yeah. Super talented. Beautiful sister. Beautiful. That's Black excellence once again. I think it's dope. I love it. So I wish her the best. And can't wait to see what she does next. And then she's the poet laureate. Oh, I think that's beautiful. I'm loving it.
Her title is the National Youth Poet Laureate. I think that's her title.
Oh, she's the Youth Poet Laureate. Okay.
Right. I think she won a title and she's the nationally. But to get on this platform and open up a speech and let the world hear some of her excellence. And she mentioned in the interview, part of that speech she wrote the night before because she had to rethink what she wanted to say. And wow, to be up in the middle of that night, making sure she dot the lines, cross the T's, make sure the words were out. It was an excellent poem. So anybody that didn't see the speech, go to purehistory.org, stroll down, and you'll see the full interview in living color.
Okay. John, thank you for the call, brother. Appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that's John. People don't know how deep and dope John is, man. John, I got nothing but love and support for John. I've met him a few times. He's come to the city. We broke bread. It was me. I think Angela was there too. Yeah. It's me, Angela, and John. We met him over at a Black-owned restaurant in the Clifton, Coreyville area. And like I said, to any of my listeners that have never been to Cincinnati, when you come to Cincinnati, hit me up. I'll show you around town after COVID. Now, I'm not doing it during COVID. I'm COVID set. I'm a cardiac, I'm a heart attack survivor. So this is some things I just can't do. All right. But after COVID, come to town. I'll take you out to dinner. I'll show you all the great spots to eat. I can show you around the town. I can show you where all the Black-owned businesses and restaurants are so you can make sure you recycle your dollar here. I can show you all the best views of Cincinnati. Cincinnati has a lot to offer. And when you come to Cincinnati, I can help you maximize your experience so you don't waste your time going to some whack-ass restaurants and some whack sites. I know where all the best spots are, all the best places to eat are. If you into wings, I know where all the best wings places are. You love breakfast food, I know where the best breakfast spots are. And I'll make sure I'll take care of you. I will take care of you, most definitely. No doubt about it. I'll be your Cincinnati ambassador when you come to the city. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nathan. How are you?
I'm doing great.
This is Donita.
Hey, Donita, welcome.
Hey, just want to address a couple of things. Like you were talking about, why can't the kids who are remote have access to their primary teacher? Well, I think it would honestly be unfair to expect the teacher to teach kids who are face-to-face and remote at the same time. I think that's part of the issue, is because you want to be able, especially when you're looking at younger students, you want to be able to give each one of them the attention. And I don't think that it would be easy for a teacher to be able to do that. So I'm thinking that's probably one of the reasons why that can't be done.
No, I'm with you.
And I do know some districts tried it, and I don't think it worked out too well.
Right, that's a hell of a lot for a teacher. Yeah, I agree. That's exactly why.
The other thing that we have to look at too is that I know people are saying, my kid is doing very well on remote learning, and I've seen people like, my kid is getting straight A's now. But we have to remember that this isn't cookie cutter. You know what I mean? And what works for some is not going to work for others. I work at a school, and my school is remote. We've been remote since August, and we do have some kids who are doing great. But I've also seen kids in tears, kids who are, conscientious about their grades, because it's hard to be remote. One girl, when I talked to her, she said, Miss Thomas, it's like when you get on the class, by the time, you get logged in, the teacher, asks how everybody's doing, anybody having any problems. It's like the class is over. It's time to, they learn a few quick things, the class is over, and it's time to log off there and hurry up and get logged into your next class. Then you have, computer issues and that kind of stuff. And some of these kids are honestly struggling with remote learning. So if your kid is doing great, that's great for you. But we got to take into consideration, not all kids are. Some kids are truly struggling with this. And
I
so
like to see the numbers.
We got to kind of try to figure that out as well. I just think we have to take into consideration everyone. So I just think that if parents, and it seems like parents have been making noise, they want their kids back in school. That is, when you look at CPS, that's, I guess, who they're listening to. But they did, you do have an option. So parents need to exercise their options. If you want your kid at school, send them. If you don't, they're virtual. And you do what's best for your child. Each household has to make that individual decision for their household. And that's that.
Yeah, you have an option, but it's an unfair option. But you're right. You do have an option, but it's an unfair option.
Well, I think people would look at it in the reverse, to staying remote all the way is unfair. So nobody is going to be 100% happy. This isn't Burger King where you get it your way. There are some give and takes on each end. Nobody is going to be 100% happy. But the fact that you do have an option is better than nothing. And again, nobody is making anyone send their kids to school. I know Tracy mentioned truancy. The only way the truancy officer is coming is if your kid is remote and they're not logging on and doing their work, which should happen. If you're saying your kid's going to be remote, they need to log on and do their work. But if your kid is logging on, doing their work, nobody's coming to your house about truancy. If you are comfortable with your child going to school, then that's what you do. But to say this isn't fair, I could say it's not fair on the other end. Why does your not fair outweigh my not fair, is what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, yeah, you could say that. But if you look at it, when everybody is virtual, there is a level of fairness in that. And the level of fairness is, I'm telling you, the level of fairness is that everybody has the same access to the teacher because everybody's virtual. See, when they go to hybrid, then the only people that are going to have access to the teacher are going to be the students that are in class. See, when you're virtual, everybody's got the same access to the teacher.
You want me to tell you why that's not fair? This isn't my situation, but I'm going to play the advocate. I'm going to play devil's advocate. It's not fair because, say, my kid can't learn virtually. So it's not fair. Say my kid has to be sitting in front of that teacher in order to learn because my kid learns differently than yours. So no, it's not fair. When you have those kids,
that's a separate issue, though.
When you have those kids, but it's not. What you just said, it's fair for everyone, and remote is not fair for everyone.
No, it is. Remote is fair for everyone in terms of access to the teacher. I hear what you're saying, Danita, but there's no puller. It is that's a fact. When everybody's virtual,
the fact is
you're talking about something different. You're talking about something different. So what I'm saying is that we both can't talk at the same time, Danita. So let me get this point in, then I'll give the floor back to you. So in terms of access to the teacher, when everybody's virtual, all the students have the same access to the teacher. Whether they learn the best way virtually is a separate issue. But in terms of having access to their primary teacher, it's all the same.
When my child is in an autistic unit and his access to a teacher is not the same as yours. So just access is not equal. That's still separate but equal, what you're saying. And it's still not fair. Again, you can't make your not fair more important than somebody else.
I can't understand what you just said. Could you say that again, please?
I said you can't make your not fair not equal, not as important as somebody else's.
No, I mean before that.
And it's still, I said, if my child is in an autistic unit, that remote learning does nothing for him. So it's still not fair. is separate but equal. Yeah, my child can look at his teacher on a screen, but what good is that doing him? None. So again, it's still not fair. And remote does not make it fair for everybody. Remote does not work for everyone. Glad for the people that it works for. I think it's great. So continue to do that. But those kids who need to go to school, allow them to go to school. And so if your sacrifice has to be, because it's so important to you that your child stay home, if the sacrifice is your child does not get to see Miss Wonderful on the screen every day, they have to work at home, but that's what you're choosing, that's what you chose. Nobody's asking you to sacrifice your kid for COVID. You've said that.
That's exactly what they're doing.
Sacrifice my kid. No, I'm not, because you have the option to keep your child at home
without access to their primary teacher.
But they still have it. But my kid doesn't have access to his primary teacher on remote. So which one of us wins? It's not fair.
I don't even know what you're talking about. So what are you saying now? Your kid doesn't have access to the teacher in remote. In what scenario?
Not if my kid is in a specialized unit, sitting there looking at a screen does nothing for them.
So if your kid in a specialized unit?
No, I just said that's not my.
Okay, so you come up with a hypothetical that does it. Okay. It sounds like you're changing the conversation here.
Wait a minute. Let's not say it doesn't exist. I know you want to get ready to say it doesn't exist, because it does. There are plenty of children in schools who cannot learn by remote. So please don't do that.
Please don't do what?
It does not exist.
I think you're changing the conversation to fit what you think.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. So let me go back to what I said. And again, I don't know this, so maybe some people can tell us that. So if your child is in a specialized unit and they're in virtual learning right now, do they have access to the same teacher that they would have if they were in school learning?
Yeah.
Okay, that's my point. So that's why I said when everybody's in virtual learning, all the kids have access to their primary teacher through virtual learning. When you go to a hybrid system, the only kids who are going to have access to their primary teacher are the kids that go to in-class learning, and that's not fair.
But the problem is, Nate, the problem with education is not just access to a primary teacher. You're simplifying a complex issue.
No, I'm just giving you my. No. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I don't want to cut you off. You go ahead and say your point.
Okay. So for you, the important issue for you is that your child has access to Miss Anderson. That's what you want. You want and I'm just using the name. You want your kid to be able to be taught by Miss Anderson because Miss Anderson is their teacher in school. Okay, that is your issue. But Nate, the issue for some parents is that they need their kid to be taught. It's not about Miss Anderson. It's about the way their kid is taught. And so what I'm telling you is, your issue about Miss Anderson does not outweigh somebody else's issue about the way their kid is taught.
I think you changed the conversation, but I hear you, Danita. I appreciate your call. I think you changed the conversation, but I got some other folks on the line, but I appreciate what you have to say.
I'm sure.
Yeah, most def. I think she's changing the conversation slightly, but okay. It is what it is. To me, it seems pretty simple. So let's start with some basic at the level. Every parent, no matter what your socioeconomic level, no matter whether your kids are able to perform in virtual learning or not, in my opinion, from what I've seen, every parent would prefer their kids to be in class. I would prefer my children to be in class because I think all parents understand that's going to be the best environment for them to learn. We all get that. The reason why we're not is because it's a freaking pandemic. You can get COVID and die. So let's start right there. I can't speak for every parent, but generally speaking, I would have to believe that every parent would prefer their child to be in class. I want my kids to be in class. I want my son to be in class. I want my daughter to be in class. The only reason why they're not is because of COVID. If not for COVID, they'd be in class. Why? I think that that's the best learning environment. I think it would be better for teachers. I've talked with the teachers. It's primarily for my son's teacher. And she said as well, especially with them little ones, she just happens to be a female. She works best, operates best face-to-face with the children. We all get it. We would all prefer that. The reason why they're not is because of COVID. COVID. You can die. You can get sick. We don't know what the long-term effects is. And the teachers, staff, and administrators have yet to be vaccinated. Are we not missing that? So as I said, it would be different for me if you still had access to your primary teacher, because having access to your primary teacher and not being virtual learning, there's a difference. Stop acting like it's the same. It is not the same to be in virtual learning with a whole new set of people your kid is not involved with. They may not be at your child's homeschool. That is not the same as being in virtual learning with the same teacher that you start the school year with and you're going to end the school year with. Let's stop acting like that's the same. It ain't the same. It's not the same. I think that ain't about that's not opinion. Those are facts. How could it be the same? If it was the same, then we should all just be doing virtual learning then outside the school. It is not the same. All right. So again, let's start with that. And then we start coming up with these hypotheticals. What if it ain't even consistent to your experience? What's the usefulness of a hypothetical that's not consistent to your experience? I don't get it, but okay. We can always agree to disagree. I appreciate the conversation. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Ivey. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Who am I speaking with?
It's your favorite evil white conservative.
My favorite white conservative, you said?
Yes, it's Mike. How you doing today, buddy?
What's up, Mike? Mike, you sound a little bit low, man. Sound a little low. You on?
Hold on. How's this? Better?
Oh, much better, Mike. Much better. Welcome to the conversation. What's on your mind, Mike?
So to the neatest point, my kids they're in school right now, but they also do a hybrid. And when they do their hybrid, they're in class with their teacher. I think it goes on to the teacher because they give access to each student. So when they do the hybrid, they're in class with their fellow classmates and at home.
Okay.
So they do have access to their teachers.
What
they don't have somebody else.
What school district are your children
teacher. In? Marymount.
Okay. So Marymount. Okay.
Yes.
So your kids are in hybrid. Oh, wait. So where are your children again? I'm sorry.
They're in Marymount.
No. I didn't mean the district. I mean in terms of, are your kids in a hybrid? Are they in virtual learning? Are they in class?
Well, the administrators, they kind of do like depending on the levels, like how many active cases are in the area. So right now they're in full time.
They're in full time. Okay.
They could also they can also go into hybrid where they alternate.
So what's been your experience throughout this whole pandemic in the school year? Have they been going back and forth from hybrid to virtual to in class, or has it been consistent?
Again, it goes with like how many active cases they have. If cases are on the rise in the area, they go to hybrid. That way they can separate the students better. If it's, low, they go in. I mean, my child's been home for 2 weeks at a time because of cases. With contact tracing and all that, they're like, your child was next to a student that possibly may have had COVID, so can you keep them home for a couple of weeks? Like, yeah, sure, no problem.
And so has that happened to your children? Have they had to stay home because of contact tracing?
Yes.
Wow. So when they were at home, they were totally virtual?
Yeah, they were totally virtual.
And then when they were totally virtual, did they have access to their primary teacher while they were virtual?
They had access to their primary teacher. They were in class on virtual learning in Zoom with their entire class.
Oh, so what did they do? They Zoomed the whole class?
They Zoomed the whole class.
Huh. Okay, because CPS...
like most... the CPS have tablets.
They do have tablets.
So, well, see, they send home the tablets and stuff like that, and they Zoom the entire class. So as a teacher is teaching, they're in class with their fellow classmates and with the teacher. So if they have questions, they get their teacher's attention through hitting a button or something, and the teacher sees them, and they participate in class.
Yeah, CPS is saying, and again, somebody set me straight if I'm wrong, is saying they don't have the technology and or the money to do something like that. So basically, they've got like a camera that's streaming, or maybe it's the laptop of the teacher that's up, and then they can kind of watch from home what's going on in the classroom.
I think the money's there and it's accessible. I just don't think they want to pay it out. I mean, in a situation like this, we don't need to harm the children. I mean, the children should have access and they should be able to see their classmates because it is hard on the children.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's fair to take everything out on the kids.
Right.
I mean, me and my wife are the kind of people like, you got a hungry kid, show up at our door, we'll feed the kid. I mean, and some of these people, they rely on school meals to get food. So I think if we keep it completely virtual, we deny them access to food. And I don't want to see that. So I think CPS could do a better job in setting something up like what my school district has.
The virtual Zoom camera kind of thing?
Yes. I mean, if the school's got tablets, then I don't see why it's an impossibility to do hybrid just like that.
Yeah,
I don't know about all schools.
That's a good question.
In CPS, but you know what I'm saying? Like, why do we have to harm the students? I mean, we could have the same beneficial access that my school district has. I know my kids go to an affluent system, but I mean, I just don't see the money not being there, especially, being asked for. I mean, Mike DeWine wants to send everybody back. Why not give the money to go back?
I'm with you on that one. Mike.
But I think there is, like to Deneen's point, I think there is a way that, you want to keep your child at home, keep them at home. If you want to send them, send them. But the kids should have access and not get some random teacher where they're not participating with their classmates.
Anything else in your mind, Mike?
Oh, yeah. You're going to see a rise of a third party after they impeach Trump.
Is that the Patriot Party from Trump?
Yeah, it's going to rise, buddy. I mean, the Republican base relies too much on conservatives and what they've seen. I mean, I'm hearing a lot of conservative friends talk about it. They're no longer going to vote Republican.
Now, did you vote?
So you're witnessing.
Somebody's called me on a 723 number. Please call me back when I get off with Mike. I'll put you straight on. Sorry about that, Mike. So let me ask you, Mike, you don't have to answer, but did you vote for Trump last year?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm a policy guy, dude. I don't want to see, like, everybody's like, we're going to see a $15 minimum wage, this and that. Like, people don't account inflation, labor costs, this and that. And, you add all of his policies in, shutting down the Keystone Pipeline, making it harder on oil. You're going to see gas prices rise, production costs rise. The $15 minimum wage ain't going to mean squat. It ain't. I mean, if you logically look at it, yeah, everybody gets a pay raise, but you're going to bring down the middle class that is working because they're not going to get an adjusted income. Labor costs are going to go up, and you're just going to make it worse. I'm a policy guy. I mean, I ain't a big fan of Trump, but I just go for policies. Opening up the borders and stuff like that, you're going to see a higher spike in COVID. I mean, it just don't make sense, especially at this point.
So let me ask you, how do you feel about Biden-Harris? Are you optimistic?
I don't want to see what's going on, if that makes sense. All the hate and division, man, I think it's time to come together. But as policy-wise, I think you're going to see too many policies that hurt individual rights, and I ain't for that. I mean, Biden is not exactly the cleanest of characters. Either is Harris. I mean, I think they're cronies. I think Biden's trying to protect him and his son. I mean, remember, that laptop was fake news until after the election. The vaccine wasn't going to happen until after the election. And here it all is. It's all coming out real. So.
All right, Mike. Thanks for the call, man. I appreciate you.
All right, man.
Yeah, most def. So, he said in Marymount, they're streaming the class. I mean, what would it take? Let me think about what it would take. Somebody was trying to call me from a 723 number. Call me back. I'll put you straight on. It's just that beeping was happening during the phone call. That's why I was dropping it. Sometimes I put it on hold. So what would it take? What would it take? It would take, I don't think it would take a whole lot. So for instance, if teachers, I don't understand how that would be that difficult for CPS to stream classrooms. I don't see how that's that difficult. I'm sorry. I'm not saying I'm the most technological whiz, but if teachers are already using laptops, maybe issued to them by CPS or their personal computing devices, if they're already streaming the classrooms to Zoom, then how would it be that more difficult for a teacher to take that same laptop, take it into the classroom, Zoom it, so then the kids who are doing who've chosen the stay-at-home model can just watch via the teacher's laptop, just like they're doing now? I don't see how that's that difficult. So let me think about this. So you want to make sure that's going to be a hell of a Wi-Fi, stream. Let's say you got every teacher that's streaming every class. Yeah, you're going to be taking up a lot of gigabytes, but if you're using Cincinnati Bell, they don't have limits and caps on that. I don't see how that's that difficult, quite honestly. Maybe I'm missing something. You don't even have to set up a remote camera. Just use the same device. Like, I've watched my son and my daughter's teacher. They're using some kind of laptop in the classroom. The laptop's got a camera on it. That's what they sit in front of. All you would do is just push the camera. I don't know, the camera, you would just do the same thing. You just stream it live while the teacher's in the classroom, and the teacher can still be in the camera. I don't know what the difference would be, but again, smarter people than me can figure that all out. But I don't think that would be that more. I don't understand how that would be that more difficult than what they're doing now. It would be even easier in some cases because everybody be in the classroom, so you could centralize the Wi-Fi connection and have more control over it, have more stability. Because some of my daughter's teachers are at home. All right, let's go back to the phones. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Hey, Nathan, how are you?
I'm doing great. Welcome.
Okay.
Well, who am I speaking with?
Reese.
Reese. How do you spell that, Reese?
Yes. Reece.
Okay. Welcome, Reese. Good morning.
Good morning. I was calling. I just wanted to touch on a few things regarding your subject matter, the hybrid, because I had when school went back to, I guess, a blended learning where you could go 2 days and then some students had the choice to stay at home. I had 3 students. So I had one that did go back hybrid because he has, IEP. So I figured it was better for him to go back for those 2 days because he has certain things that he was dealing with that he learns better in class. Then the other 2 stayed at home because they had the choice to do so and not go back hybrid. While the 2 were at home, they did not get full instruction. They so it's a little different than Mike's situation where he stated that if they're home, they did not get full instruction. The 2 that decided not to go back, it was really dicey, their type of education. And I'm with you. Why couldn't the teacher who did do hybrid those days just set up a laptop and show that to the kids that decided to stay at home? It was kind of like they were given assignments and just left behind. And then when they're all at home, when they're not doing hybrid with CPS, then they're all virtual anyway. They have a regular virtual schedule. So why wouldn't they be able to just do that the full time that they're home? So, and unlike Mike, a lot of parents, Mike said, I think his name was Mike, said his kid would go to school and then they would get contact tracing saying they were in contact with somebody. And he was like, can you keep them home for 2 weeks? And he's like, yeah, sure, that's no problem. But when we can do that. But when you set your employment based on, okay, they're going back for 2 days, so my schedule is set up this way, and then you're home because you've been in contact tracing with somebody, then you can't just be like, okay, that's fine. Some people can't. They're used to having a certain schedule. And even if you could, once I did send the hybrid student back, he was in school 2 days, I think, and we got letters saying that can he quarantine for 2 weeks? So really he was hybrid, but he was only there 2 days before he had to be home and didn't get any instruction during the 2 weeks that he was home because somebody had COVID. So really, they're being home anyway. We got a letter every week that somebody had COVID. So I mean, I don't know what the solution to this is. People just have to choose what's best for their own child.
Mm-hmm.
Having 3 different children, learning 3 different ways, I've experienced them all. So I don't know. One is thriving, one is just doing okay, and the other one probably is comfortable going back. But I have two that are not comfortable going back at all, and it's affecting their mental health, thinking that they're going to go back. Their anxiety is on 10. So I'm like, okay, I need to protect my child at all costs. If their mental health is like on 10, I'm not sending them back regardless of what CPS says, because mentally they can't learn anyway while they're there thinking, okay, it's kids everywhere. And I might get COVID. And so they're just mentally not ready to go. Mine are not mentally ready to go back. And I'm going to protect them at all costs. So even if CPS says, okay, we're going back, if I decide that they can't go back, I'm not going to send them.
But then it'll be a disadvantage because they won't have access to their primary teacher.
And I won't care,
right?
Because my job is to protect my children.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. But I think it's unfair to the child.
It is unfair to the child, but at the same time, I'm just going to have to weigh those risks. And they say, oh, you can only, they have social distancing. I had one send me pictures on the bus, the way he did go back hybrid. They were not social distancing on the bus. It was overcrowded.
Right. That's been my experience too. They have good intentions. They have a good plan, but executing it is a whole different thing when you're talking about children. It's a whole different thing, especially when they're away from supervision. It's a whole other thing going on. So right. it is a concern.
He sent me pictures like, I don't want to be here. I can't even move because these buses are overcrowded. Kids aren't wearing masks. So he was paranoid. So I felt bad about sending him back. So this time he may not go back hybrid at all. So it's just some things I have to weigh.
Yeah. Reese, thank you for the call. Appreciate you.
All righty.
Have a great day. Appreciate the conversation. Like I said, I mean, at the very least, I mean, I think media for our community is a way for us to express ourselves. And at the very least, there's a lot of opinions out there. There's a lot of really, really sensitive feelings. And we should have platforms and a platform. That's why I'm here. That's why CDM is here. So we can talk about this in a very real and raw way. You know what I'm saying? I mean, are we going to change the system with this show? I'm not that arrogant to believe that. But I want to have a conversation here, and we might come up with some ideas that can spark these men and women that are in leadership positions. Again, I'll say what I have to say about CPS. I, in my heart, believe that each and every one of them care. It don't mean they're always right. It don't mean that they're infallible. You know, we all can be corrected. We all can learn something new. And some things have come up this morning that I don't understand. And again, this is what I want to hear. Explain to me why we can't have streaming from classrooms during COVID. What's the cost? What's the cost? The other thing I'll say as a parent is I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is. I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is for CPS. So looking into the future, nobody wants to see COVID-20, but COVID-20 and COVID-21, COVID-25 could happen. And we need to make sure that our school system has all the resources, has all of the money that it needs to deal with any scenario. Feel me on that? If that means I got to pay more taxes, then I'll do that. I'm willing to do it. Even if my children are, move through this system, I'm willing to do that for your children because that's what time it is. That's what's important. What's the use of making money or having a little few quarters if you're not going to save it or you're not going to use it for the betterment of our community, for our children? So I think that CPS also needs to be real with us when they come to us in the future about what they need, because what they do is they ask for less than what they need just to get it passed. Let's for all of us that's got issues, let's make sure that we are committed to properly funding CPS so they have all of the resources they need to deal with any scenario. They might have to buy all new laptops. Let's make sure they got the money they need. Right? They may have to put cameras in every school room, every classroom. Let's make sure they have the money that they need to protect, our investment, our future, the children. You know what I'm saying? And then props to all those people like LaSoup. Props to LaSoup and all the partners with CPS that came together. Props to Cincinnati Bell that work with CPS to provide all these things like home Wi-Fi access for free. We can't overlook what people have been doing. I don't want to do that. I'm going to keep it real. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep it critical. But at the same time, I'm going to keep it fair. You know what I'm saying? And I want to recognize these people that have been out here putting their time, money, and energy for the betterment of our children because I appreciate it. I appreciate it 100%. Don't mean that there still are some things to discuss and maybe some points of disagreement. But, I think Mike was bringing up about hungry children. I mean, shout out to La Soup, shout out to all the local restaurants and partners with CPS that have come up with plans and are executing those plans to make sure that, people are getting what they need. I've seen it firsthand. It's an incredible operation. It really is. So props to those individuals. But many things to discuss this morning. Let me jump inside the chop shop. Hold on. Before we go any further, we have to take another word from our sponsor. Again, a great way of supporting the Nathan Ivey Show is supporting the people that support the Nathan Ivey Show. And just a quick word from our sponsor this morning. All right. Don't go anywhere.
It's that well-born experience. It's that well-born experience. The well-born experience. 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 It's that well-born experience. Yeah, the well-born experience. Yeah, that well-born experience. Experience. Tell us what you need. That's the question we start with. We specialize selling condos, houses, apartments. Make sure that you're happy with your residence. Keep it real, no filter. Oh, it's the realtor from the nattiest heaven sent. It's the well-born experience. Ain't nothing like it. Every time he talk to his client, he's so excited just knowing he able to put them in a place to lay their head. Not focusing on his profits, but on the client instead. Right? He keeps it so professional and from his conversation. You can tell he studies before sharing information. Educated, motivated, ain't nobody better. Who's willing to walk you through every step to relieve the pressure? Yeah, and just so you know it's real, you get a special personalized rug once he closes the deal. So go and call him up so he can get you live. 513-252-1055.
Again, that's the Wellborn Experience. You can visit them this morning, thewellbornexperience.com, and you can contact them at 513-252-1055. Black-owned Team Wellborn at gmail.com. Gmail.com. Again, support our sponsors. Good morning to you. All right, let's get straight back to the phones this morning and also your chat. Let me jump inside the Chop Shop this morning. Tony writes, good morning, Choppers. This just in. QAnon self-inflicted gun wounds rose by 50% yesterday. Hashtag no storm. Hashtag nothing to believe in. 50%. Tracy writes, the solution is kids stay home if this ish till this shit is over. I'm with you, Trace. But just like you said, this ain't an option because of the governor. I understand that. Believe me, I understand it. But I want to hear from the school board members. I want them to tell us that. Just like they came to us when they was running that platform about what they're going to do. Now we at a tense moment. I want to hear from you. It's the yin and the yang of a publicly elected official. And then maybe there's a way that we can get involved. And what's up, Medium Buddha? You want to come say hi? Come say hi. Hello. Hi. Hello. Look at her. Can you believe it? Kiss Daddy. I know it. Thank you. That's Medium Buddha. That's why I fight so hard. That's why I do this. That's my passion right now. That's my energy. That's the battery in my back. It's the family. Your family. That's what it's all about. It ain't about nothing more than that. It's about the children. It's about the family. It's about the community. It's about the culture. That's what drives me right there. That's why I bring them on. Black love. Black love. That's what it looks like. All right, back to the phones. John is mafiosi. That's hilarious. Mike for school board. That's CG Dub. Good morning to you. CG Dub writes, now, Nate, we're talking Marymount School District, much smaller class size. Right. You're right about that. Right. I did realize. That's why I had to ask him, like, what school district is this? Marymount. Different set of circumstances. But in terms of the technology, I mean, I don't think there's so much of a difference there. You know, teachers got laptops. Just the teacher has the laptop on, presumably. So is it a question of double usage of the laptop? Do teachers need their laptop for other things when they're in the classroom and so they can't stream it? Like, I'm streaming from a laptop right now. You know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, it's not the camera from a laptop, but the computing mechanism essentially is a computer, no different from any kind of Surface Pro or laptop. You can do it from a desktop. It really doesn't really matter. So how is that so difficult for CPS to do that? They're already doing it with Zoom. I don't get it, but I don't get it. Is that too much of any teachers out there? Would that be from a teacher perspective? Let me ask my teachers. Are there any CPS teachers? Y'all probably busy right now. If you're a teacher, you in class right now, you working, so there's probably no teachers here. Any former teachers, recently retired teachers? I mean, how difficult would that be? Yeah, teachers are working right now. See, no empathies on YouTube writes, LOL, Mitch is worried about third party. If Mitch votes against Trump on impeachment, you will see a third party, Republican base or Trump supporters. I can see that. I don't have a problem with it. We should be doing that. By we, I'm talking about progressive people and black folks. You know, why can't it could be together or independently? Now, I think the progressive agenda and the black agenda, in my opinion, this is just me, because all progressive don't talk like this. But to me, there is no more progressive agenda than the black agenda. To me, the black agenda is the progressive agenda. That's why you hear me intertwining the two, because the way I look at it, what's more progressive than dealing with the black agenda? Nothing. There is nothing more progressive than that, in my opinion. That's my kind of black progressivism. You know what I'm saying? But again, I might be a little different, you know, than other people. I don't know. Woody writes, time for Salmon with the hook for not voting John. Oh my God. Give John a break. Listen, you support me, I support you. I keep saying that. I'm going to die with that. You can put that on my headstone. You rock with him, he rock with you. Simple as that. I F's with John. Sometimes I got to correct my brother. But again, it is what it is. It just comes with the territory. Deshona is on YouTube. She writes, he's a writer for sure. Sean writes, you talking about me? Rob De Niro. Ron P's in the house. He writes, they already said won't be another Black Panther. No, Ron, there is going to be another Black Panther. Yeah, I read. It's going to be another Black Panther. They're not going to replace Chadwick Boseman. I got to ask T.T. Stern Ensley. He probably super deep into it. We watched the first Black Panther together. He hooked me up with the tickets. I was like, I'm there. But from what I understand, it's going to deal with like the mythology and the history of Wakanda, which could be dope. I don't know. I'm here for it. I don't want to see them stop the franchise. Initially, I was like, you know, I don't want to see somebody replace Chadwick Boseman. But then I'm like, well, everybody gets replaced. You know, the character is more important than the actor, right? And that first movie was so good. I'm like, wow. When they said, who you talking to, colonizer? I was like, what? There's some black magic in this? I'm loving it. Woody writes, 2036, I'll be in a box. What? Hopefully not, Woody. I mean, it's only, 35 years from, it's only 25 years from now. I can make another 25 years. I could still be here 25 years. He says 2036, I'll be in a box. Oh, my God. I'll be in an urn somewhere. I'll make him an offer he can't refuse, Vito Corleone. Y'all funny, man. Nat writes, young Nikki Giovanni in the making. My mom's grew up with her in Avondale. Yeah, you talking about that sister? Yeah, she did excellent. She did a great job, man. Great job. I mean, she was not on my radar screen. She did a great job. Hey, listen, coming up today, Midday Juice with Ask Ashley. That'll be at 1 p.m. You can find it on Facebook on CDM's page. Ask Ashley. Every Tuesday and Thursday at 1 p.m. I've been teasing a brand new podcast, a bunch of new podcasts coming. Brand new podcast with Tiffany Daniels. But you know what? And she put it out there, so I don't think she have a problem with it. She does a podcast called Community Connector. And essentially, you know, she primarily deals with Black wealth building, real estate, all the things that we need to hear about and learn about, Bitcoin, Forex trading, all that. That's her wheelhouse. That's what she talks about. But, you know, she's dealing with that COVID. Yeah, it's real. I keep telling people, stop playing. I know many people. I was just talking with a brother last night, one of the choppers. COVID ran through his family. I was just talking to another brother last night that's not in the chop shop quite a lot, but's aware of the platform. And he was telling me that COVID ran through their family. These are black folks. COVID ran through their family. This COVID issue is real, y'all. Stop playing with it, family. Take it super seriously. We're not done yet. Let's get the vaccine out there. Let's create the momentum for herd immunity. And then we can start doing all kind of different things. You know what I'm saying? But I wanted to give you a heads up on that. We got a brand new podcast called Melanin Insights, hosted by two black females. I know you're going to love it. These sisters are sharp. They talk about social issues, politics, their life, and they are about that wealth building. They are about that wealth building. And I love it. Oh, somebody just sent me a message saying, one of the choppers, saying they have COVID right now. This is real SF. So again, that's the reason why I flow the way I do, and I've been flowing the way I've been flowing about COVID in the schools, and I'm fearless and tearless and unapologetic about it, and I ain't budging because I know too many people that's dealing with it. So sometimes you just got to, it's that triage. Sometimes we got to do what we got to do. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be a little bit uncomfortable. And then in the long term, we will get to comfortability again. But in the short term, we're going to be a little bit uncomfortable. And that's how I see COVID. We will get through this together. I'm with you every single morning. We're going to get through this together. Okay? We're going to get through this together. Whether we get sick or not, you're going to be okay. That's why I share tips with you about building up your natural immunity, sharing tips and things you can eat, changing your diet so that you can build up your body's natural defense so you can survive this. And again, I don't want you just to survive COVID. I want you to thrive through COVID. I want you to come out of COVID better than you went into COVID. That is what I'm looking for. All right? Just so you know where I'm coming from. JD writes, hey, good morning, JD. Good to see you. She writes, Black Family Library. Yeah, if you ain't hit, find them on Facebook. They're doing great work. Teachers could teach in person and virtually if given the proper resources. Okay, I was asking that question. If given the proper resources, right? So is it a money issue? It's like what's the bill? What's the bill? Tell us the bill. And again, we may not be able to do anything about this now, but I'm going to be honest with you, family. I don't think that COVID-19 is the end of this. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I don't wish this. What I see in the future is we could be dealing with this in the future. I'm glad that the Joe Biden administration is in place for one reason above all others, because I think that Biden and Harris are going to take COVID-19 more seriously than Trump did. And I believe that if there's a COVID-20 or some other, maybe it's not COVID, maybe it's bird flu, swine flu, something like that, I believe that Biden and Harris will jump on top of it more seriously than Trump would have. That's what I believe. Trump was playing games, worried about his public image in the stock market, while 400,000 people were dying in total. Oh, yeah, this will go away. Oh, this is a Democrat hoax, trying to politicize it. Oh, the Democrats are only talking about this because they want to make me look bad. I mean, come on, man. I mean, some things are bigger than politics. You know what I'm saying? Eric writes, you want to see the numbers? Thousands of students have literally fallen off the grid since virtual started. Yeah, I want to see the numbers on that. I want to see the numbers on the percentage of kids. I want to see the numbers on how well students have been doing in virtual learning. And then compare that to how those students were doing in class. I think that would be very important. Okay, and then I also want to know what's the difference. Why is it that some students are learning and thriving or thriving academically in virtual learning as opposed to being in school? What is the difference? I think that's valuable information. So yes, I do want to see the difference. The numbers. Brian writes, the daggone question is not what works. We are in a pandemic. 400,000. Say it again, 400,000. Stop making it about individuals and make it about the whole. People should be honest. You don't feel you can fight to force the government to pay you to stay home. So you justify going back to class, he writes. Deborah Nesbitt is in the house. She writes, because her not fair isn't going to get some kid infected with COVID at school. Keeping kids at home is working. Exactly. Dale writes, it don't work that way, Nate. What doesn't work that way? Janine writes, so true. Tiff writes, I agree with the caller. Dale writes, in terms of access, yes, but effectiveness, no. Right. So I'm talking about access. Effectiveness has other variables to it that are out of our control. Like, we can't control how we can't control, the school board can't control how well the grades your kids get, that a child gets or a student gets when they're face to face. We don't have any control over that. What can be controlled is the access to the teacher. And again, that's what I've been saying is my biggest issue over and over again. There's a WCPO article that came out yesterday, and they talked with a parent from CPS and white male, and he brought up the same point. You know, this is what's on parents' minds is, okay, we understand we may have a hybrid. Some people don't feel comfortable, but then why do we have to lose access to the primary teacher? And despite what anybody says, that is right now, you have consistency in virtual learning. You have consistent access to your teacher. It's not the access that people want, but it's consistent. You got a schedule. And you know that at a certain time that your child is going to be face-to-face via a screen, again, not ideal, with their teacher. That's called continuity. Continuity is a part of what children and students need as well. That's all part of it, right? They go to hybrid, then to get access to your primary teacher, you got to brave COVID. Meanwhile, if you choose virtual learning, you go to virtual academy, you don't even know who the teacher you're going to be with. You're breaking the relationship, even though it might be through a screen, and you're breaking the continuity. That's how I see it. So there are some questions that we need answers to for the future, the short term, the medium, and the future. Okay, so what do we need to do? CPS, what do you need from parents? Y'all need some more cash? How much more? Why can't we do streaming live from the classrooms? You got teachers streaming live from their bedrooms already. What's the difference? They just take the laptop and/or whatever computing machine, you put it in the classroom. Kids can sit at home and still enjoy what they're getting from the classroom. How would that be any different than what they're getting right now from teachers who are screaming at home? What's the difference? Well, the difference is access, which is what I keep coming back to. Access. You get access to the primary teacher. You get access to the primary learning environment and what's going on. That's why I keep talking about it. And then people want to change it and talk about autism and talk that. I hear you. I'm not saying you're not making a point, but we can't control that. I can't control how well a child is going to do in virtual as opposed to how well a child is going to do in school learning. What we can control is access. Seems very clear to me. Kelly writes, good morning, good people. Hey, good morning to you, Kelly. Dale writes, they're both right. I agree. Jason writes, how is her access different? Tracy writes, this is Tracy Stinson writes, most teachers teach one way. They don't teach to each different student's needs. As a parent, you have to learn how to teach your child. Eric writes, let's talk about the numbers. Most people who contract COVID make a full recovery. I mean, that's kind of like COVID Russian roulette. You really want to play that game? Sean writes, get a tutor. I'm with you on that one. Tutor. The Tudors was something from English oligarchy, the monarchy, I think. Or maybe that's like a style of a home you can get. But again, I ain't perfect. Ron writes, why is she angry? Who's angry? You talking about Danita? I mean, because she get fired up. I love it. Danita ain't playing no games. I love it. Tiff writes, replying to Sean Nutter, it would be nice if it was that simple for all families. True. Brenda, you have to work harder with your child. You have to step up. Sean writes, get a tutor. Again, tutor. Again, I ain't trying to correct you, brother, because I'll be mispronouncing and misspelling stuff, but I want to make sure we all shine in here. Tutor, I believe. Tudor is the English monarchy from back in the day. And it's also a style of home that you can purchase. Eric writes, it's called passion, right? It's called passion. Yeah. Tiff writes, passion, not angry. I would say that too. Yeah, she's passionate. She passionate. Danita passionate about how she feel. I love it. That's what the chop shop is all about. Tracy Stinson writes, one size fits all method, and I guarantee most teachers don't know how to facilitate /teach in virtual environment. That's a special skill set. All I detect, no. Deborah writes, passionate and still wrong. Jacqueline writes, it is temporary situation till we can get teachers vaccinated. Saving lives should be first priority. Facts on facts on facts on facts. On facts on facts. Jason writes, you need to help your child learn, right? Jacqueline writes, I support a teacher strike. Oh boy, don't say that now, Jacqueline. Oh boy. You know, maybe we need to hear from the person, is it Julie Sellers that represents the teachers? Maybe we need to hear from Julie Sellers. You know, what are the majority of teachers feeling right now? I read some articles saying that teachers in CPS are not happy. And I can understand, I 100% support that. Why would you be? Why would you be? But who are you mad at? Are you mad at the governor? Or should you be mad at the school board, the superintendent? I don't know. A lot of people this morning are saying it's the governor. The governor said, look, March 1st, you want to get these dollars, you better have them kids back in school. Governor DeWine doesn't have any school-age children, does he? Where are his grandchildren, his nieces and nephews? Are they in private schools? I don't know. That's why we need people that's got skin in the game. Deborah Nesbitt writes, the most important issue is keeping our kids alive until it's safe for them to go back to school. I agree with that 100%. That's my posture. That's my posture. Toy writes, I think the issue is defining access. Access is more than looking at a screen to some parents. Well, Toy, I'm saying the way I'm looking at it is access to the teacher. Now, whether that be through a screen or that be through in person. Now, when we're in virtual learning right now with everybody, access is determined by when you go to class, your primary teacher is leading the class. So that's what I mean by access. Okay? As opposed to you go to Virtual Learning Academy and you don't know who the teacher is. They don't know your child. They're not the primary teacher. They may not be at your teacher's. They may not be the teacher at your child's school. You're dealing with a whole nother thing over there. Okay? And I've talked to some people that's in virtual learning, parents, and it's mixed results. Tiff writes, if you want your kid to remain at home, just sign them up for Virtual Academy. I'm sure there are qualified teachers, their kids virtual school all of the time. I think it's hit or miss. That's what I've heard to some parents that are in virtual learning. Like I know parents, their kids ain't going back this year, period. They're going to be in virtual learning no matter what. That's what they're going to choose. Even if their child is not going to be with their primary teacher. I'm just making a point, and I'm supported by the facts that I think it's unfair. That the only way you can get access to your primary teacher is you got to brave COVID. I think that's unfair. Okay? And why can't we come up with some ideas that could be alternatives that could be put in place? Who's to say we can't come up with an idea that CPS puts in place? Why not? They're just human beings, just like we are. Jacqueline writes, good luck. They are not responding to emails or calls. About CPS. That's not too uncommon. They've been doing that. So this is par for the course. Ron P writes, period. What up, Ron P? Roy's in the house. I feel like I need something in the background while I'm delivering these flows here. A little something. Just to break up the monotony in my voice. JD, Mason City Schools, very large school district. I don't know the actual number, just stating that the schools are open. Jason writes, if she's like that at home, I don't see her being a good teacher at home. Who you speaking of? Janine writes, I understand both Nathan's and Danita's stances on the issue. Oh, I understand her issue. I understand what she's saying. Believe me, don't think I don't understand. I just stand by my flows 100%. It's a global pandemic. This is Shelly. And our concern should be health and safety. Hamilton County is in the purple, and it's a good idea to send students back to class CPS. My only thing about CPS and the school board is they should have been more honest with the parents. You know, if you go back to last year, the superintendent and the school board was talking about, we're going to look at the data. We've got these criteria. We're going to come up with criteria. Here's our criteria. None of the criteria said go back to school in purple. So what I appreciate is just straight up honesty. So rather than telling us you were going to make a decision based upon the data, they should have told us they were going to make the decision based upon the data and then whatever the governor says. And then whatever the governor says was going to be weighted more. Just say that from the jump and keep it rizzled. What's wrong with that? Is it too much to expect for elected officials to be real with you and keep it straight with you? Now, I could bring in the case of Gabriel Taye and tie that into this. You know what I'm saying? CPS in court right now arguing they're not responsible to tell parents the truth about if your child is being bullied or if your child is found unconscious. And how I see parallels in the way that was dealt with and parallels to how they're dealing with this thing with COVID. I can make a real strong, I just did. I can make a very strong argument that I'm seeing parallels between the two. So this is par for the course. Same thing with the FC Cincinnati situation. Oh, we just had to do it, Nate. I talked with these folks, some of these school board members. We had no choice because they were going to do it anyway. Whatever happened to doing what the right thing is to do and standing on your ground. So, I mean, I'm seeing parallels and some consistency with these big issues, you know, coming from the school board. That's just me. You might disagree, like, nah, Nate, you tripping. You out there, bruh. I don't say, okay. But you know me, I ain't gonna back away from my opinion just because you got an opinion. And you shouldn't back away from your opinion just because I have an opinion. It is what it is. Jason writes, I can reach all my daughter's teachers. Okay. Danita writes, I am not angry. I don't think you're angry. She writes, I am not angry. I am passionate because my calling is kids. I will fight for the education of every kid. If that is an issue for you, sorry. Okay, speak, sis. You know, you always got a place here with me, Danita. You already know that. Nat writes, wait until September. Simple as that. I agree, Nate. But if the school board is dealing with the fact that they're going to lose funding or not be funded from the governor, I mean, how would that play out politically, though? Think about that. You got the governor of Ohio that pulls money from the largest school district in the state because the school board decides to stand up for health. How would that really play politically for the governor of Ohio? I'm not really sure that would help him in his reelection efforts. You pulled money from the largest school district because the school district said it's not safe for the kids. I don't know. I don't know if that would help him in his reelection efforts. So you gonna make a bad situation worse, Mr. Governor? Okay, go ahead and do it and see what happens. Like I said, what does Mike DeWine want more than anything else? A second term. He wants to be the governor for a second term. You can believe that. He don't want to do nothing that's gonna mess up that game he got going on right now. That gravy train called being the governor of Ohio. I'm sure it's a great gig if you can get it. And he got it. He wants to keep it. Tell me what you think. How would that work politically? School board says we ain't doing it because of health. We in the purple. So now the headlines are governor pulls funding from the largest school district in Ohio because the school board stands on health and safety. That's a bad headline, Mr. Governor. That's a bad headline right there. I don't know. Any smart political minds out there want to chop that up? Tell me what you think. I'm getting crazy text messages. Let me see what he got to say here. Hey, Nathan, my kid's school principal is an amazing black woman. I'm sure if you reach out, she could discuss the operation. You know, I appreciate it. That's from Mike. You know, I appreciate that. It'd be interesting. Be interesting to see what they're doing there. I mean, is it just setting up a laptop? I mean, that's pretty simple. Jacqueline writes, thank you. Research is all about the kids. What about staff? Right. What about the staff? Shelley writes, Danita writes me back up, and she writes, giving you the hypothetical I did was to try to allow you to see another point of view. Your story isn't everyone's, and neither is yours, Danita. Listen, don't get it twisted. I already know my opinions are my opinions. I talk for myself. Shelly writes, and so do you. Shelly writes, we are essentially in the same situation as we were when this first started last year. Nothing has changed, but now we should send little ones back to school. You know, the preschoolers who put everything in their mouths. Madness. Schools are incubators. You know, schools are incubators for all germs, and medical personnel know it. I'm with you, Shelly. But what I would say is that we are in a worse position. See, back then, we were in the yellow or the red, the orange or something like that. Now we're in the purple. More people are infected with COVID. It's being spread more. More people have died from COVID, and the vaccine has not been put in place. We're in a worse position than we were before. So my biggest issue with the board is, why set up all these criteria and things you're going to look for? We're going to keep it on the data. They talk all this good. It sounds so good last year. Oh, we're going to look at the data. Superintendent, we're going to look at the data. We got all these criteria. You just disregard all of that now that we in the purple. And if it has to do with Governor DeWine, then say that from the jump. Say that from the jump. Like, listen, here's what we want to do, but we got an issue with the governor and the funding. And then would DeWine really do that? That's a bad headline. That's a real bad headline for the governor of Ohio to pull funding from the largest school district in the state of Ohio because the school board, because Hamilton County is in the purple, people are dying of COVID, and the school board is afraid that people might catch COVID. That's a hell of a negative headline for me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's just me spitballing here. I haven't telling you I've thought it all the way through, but what's your take on it? Brian writes, can you pay my bills then, Nate? It's more complicated than you're making it out to be. But again, you have the luxury of working from home while your wife works. So I don't understand what you're trying to say, Brian. I mean, when you say pay your bills, why would I have to pay your bills? What's your point? I don't get it. I don't get it. And don't think you know my situation because I'm broadcasting live from home. Don't think you know me like that and you know what my finances, because you do not. Trust me. As I've said before, it's a struggle for everybody all the way around. You know, I got a 6-year-old and you got a young one too. You know what that's like, trying to keep a 6-year-old on time and focused while you're still trying to conduct business? It's a challenge, brother. So I don't understand, why would I pay your bills? Why can't you pay your bills? And how is that relevant to the conversation? I'm sure you got a point, brother, but can you flesh that out for me? I'm just reading. It's at 9:11, so it was about 50 minutes ago. Damn, I said 10. I got to make a move. Let me give you a heads up. Today's Thursday. Now, tomorrow, I got to make a move. I've got to make sure I leave the show, if not maybe a little bit early tomorrow, because I've got an appointment tomorrow morning at 10:30ish. So I've got to leave the show a little bit early. I want to give you a heads up. That'll be tomorrow. So I may leave maybe like 10 till, just to make sure I'm there when I need to be and take care of some very serious things that I need to take care of. Okay, so that's tomorrow. So sometimes we go over. Today I'm at 10:01. Tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and say it. We'll probably end the show at about 9:50 a.m. tomorrow. That'll give me enough time to do what I need to do and to get where I need to get to. So that'll be tomorrow on the show. Tomorrow is Friday, correct? Right. Brian writes, that's like me as a somewhat of a big boy giving a skinny person workout tips. I got some time in the morning. I want to hear what Brian has to say. I don't understand why I would be responsible for paying your bills and you're a grown person. And I don't understand how that's relevant to the conversation. I'm sure you got a point, brother, but I'm here, to spend some time to flesh it all out. Let me see here. Shelly writes, I know a family from another state that had to stop going to school because of contact tracing. Tiff writes, does the CPS have that technology? Sounds simple. They're already using the technology. I don't see how that would be any different, but I'm sure I don't have all the facts. I must be missing something. But if CPS teachers are currently using computing devices, desktops, laptops, Surface Pros, you name it, to stream their classes live, some in the classroom, most at home, How would that be any different to stream the classroom from those same devices? As I sit here right now, I don't see what's the difference or the difficulty. I must be missing something. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Nate, this is Brian.
Hey, what's up, Brian?
Well, everything cool. Well, to explain myself, yes, I do have a 9-year-old son too. I actually just got back to work from being home for 4 months. And it's just kind of hard for me to take advice from somebody that can, stay home. And yeah, I don't know your situation, but it's just kind of hard for me to take advice from, it's not your fault. I mean, everybody's situation is totally different, but it's just kind of hard for me to take advice from somebody that can work from home and have that advantage when, as a working adult, me and my wife, we have to go to work. If we don't go to work, bills don't get paid. Bill collectors don't care about the coronavirus. They trying to get their money too. So if I don't work, sarcastically asking, can you pay my bills? I know you can pay my bills, Nate, but just sarcastically asking, can you pay my bills? I mean, it is what it is. I mean, to me, that's simple. But overall, I just think you were oversimplifying the whole situation too. For everybody's situation, you're just putting everybody in one box, and that's not the case at all.
Okay. Well, thank you for calling and clarifying that with the whole bill thing. And so you don't have to take. I'm not really giving advice. I'm just giving opinions. So I'm not giving any advice.
But sometimes you say your opinions are facts, but they're not facts. They're exactly your opinion.
Well, no. The fact remains that no. So yeah, I separate the two. When I'm giving facts, I'll let you know these are facts, and when I'm giving opinions, I'll let you know their opinions. The fact remains is that with CPS right now, where everybody's virtual, all the children. See, I ain't even talking about the parents. I'm talking about from the children and their access to their teacher. Everybody has the same access to their teacher. That's a fact.
Well, no, it's not, because again, when it comes to technology, yes, you can say you have access, but you really, if there's a technology issue, if there's no Wi-Fi in that area, yes, you can say they have access, but if they're actually utilizing that access is a totally different thing. So you can't just say a blanket statement, you have access, but if you can't actually get to that, if you have access to the bus line or to catch the bus, but if you can't get there for some reason, something happened, it's totally different. Yeah. I mean, you can say you have access, but you got to be able to utilize that access.
Yeah, Brian.
So it's more complicated than just saying it, but it's one thing to actually be able to utilize it.
Brian, the fact remains, as I said, that as we sit here right now in virtual learning, and CPS has provided free Wi-Fi internet access with a partnership with Cincinnati Bell. I get them props for that, and we'll continue to get them props for that. And then CPS has provided laptops for every student in the district. So I'll say it again.
Right.
As we sit here right now, in terms of access to your primary teacher, all of the students have the same access via virtual learning to their primary teacher. And that's the point I was trying to make. Those are the facts. But that's not my opinion. That is the fact.
And mind you, my son don't even go to CPS. He's in a private school, and going back to what you said, you have skin in the game. I'm paying for education that is being virtual, and I sat there and listened to where, it's hard on students, teachers, parents, and everybody. So I just hate that sometimes you put everybody into one box, and you're able to stay home. Again, I don't know your situation or anything like that. I'm just speaking on, you're able to live stream on YouTube. I can't do that. I just stepped out here at work, and my son's school just sent out an email. They were supposed to go back this week, then they put you back the next week. And I just got an email this morning saying it's going to start on the 28th, but it's still up in the air.
Yeah, but Brian,
it's hard on everybody.
But Brian, that's the yin and the yang of either working for yourself or working for other people. So because you work for somebody, they probably provide you benefits and things like that, don't they? As an entrepreneur, I got to provide my own benefits. So it's a yin and a yang to every adult and the career path that they choose. It is what it is. But that's a separate issue. I know that's your issue. Right. My primary issue has always been about public health. I completely understand that there's some parents, a lot of parents that got to go to work. So for them, this conversation is about, I got to go to work. I get it. I understand it. I sympathize.
I totally disagree. See, it's it's a combination of everything for me. It's about health. My family member had it. A couple of my family members had it in ICU. It's about health, education, money. It's a combination of everything. A lot of stress. It's not just about one thing, and there's no one answer to the situation. And I think that going back again, that you're oversimplifying that there's one answer to everything, and it's not. On every level, it's complicated. The only way, outside of there being no pandemic, how can kids go back to school safely? There is not. Even if we was in yellow, even if we was in a light green, it's still a chance that they could get COVID. So there's really no solid answer to the situation. And I'm seeing that you're giving a simple answer to a very, very, very complicated situation.
Well, again, you're right. I understand what you mean now by when you say simple. You're right. I am giving a simple answer. Because for me, this is simply about public health. Because when I look at this situation, Brian, all of those other factors you brought up about the family structure and how parents make their money, that to me is all secondary to public health. So you're right. For me, it's very, very simple. And I would feel the same way no matter how I made my money, where I had to go to work every day or whatever. We have to get through COVID.
I don't think you can
because if we don't, hold on, Brian, let me get it all out.
Public health.
Let me get it all out, Brian. So we got to get through COVID. Because if we don't get through COVID and we don't make some temporary sacrifices, all we're going to do is we're going to be dealing with COVID for a longer, and it's going to be more difficult for people for a longer span of time.
So as a parent, what am I to do? I want you to like what am I to do as a working parent, two working parents with a third grader who, like you say, he's 9 years old. He's not going to sit still. And I've heard the classes. They all do the same thing. Oh, my gosh. Like, I felt for the teacher, but like as a parent, I want you to tell me, I already know the answer. What am I to do as a working parent to provide for my son, be worried about my son's health, be worried about my wife's health, be worried about my health, be worried about the future? What am I to do with one answer? Like you make it as simple to be. What am I to do?
It's real simple. You're supposed to do.
See, there you go. It's not simple.
It is real simple, Brian. It's very simple. And we like to make things more complicated than they really are. What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to make it happen, Captain. Like parents have been doing since the beginning of time. Wait, Brian, but you just said it. You have been making it happen. You're going to have to make it happen, Captain. Period.
But as a parent, they don't need another person to tell them that when they're already doing that. And I think that's the frustration from a lot of other callers, is that you're trying to tell them to do something that they're already doing, that they already know that they have to do. So given the frustration of the situation, we don't need somebody else to be telling us that it's simple. Do this, do this, do that. Nah, it ain't that simple. Like I gave you that a little analogy. Like I'm a somewhat big boy. How am I going to give a somewhat skinny guy advice on how to get in shape? He ain't trying to hear me.
I don't understand the analogy.
Nate, come on now. You're a smart guy.
You're a smart guy too, Brian, but I don't understand how that analogy, makes sense to the conversation.
So how am I going to give a skinny guy advice with a somewhat big guy? How am I going to give an advice to a skinny guy on how to get in shape when I'm sitting up here, need to do some sit-ups, need to do some jumping jacks? He's not going to look at me the same if Arnold Schwarzenegger walk up and say, do this, do that.
Again, I don't see how the analogy. I don't see how that transfers to the conversation we're having about CPS and what parents have to do. If what I'm saying is facts, what's the problem? Because it goes back to you working from home. I'm comparing it to you working from home, and there's working parents. Like, we don't want to hear that from somebody that can work from home. But again, that's your situation. Okay.
I'm not.
So would it be?
That's.
So what you're saying is that if I wasn't working from home and I said the exact same thing, it would hit your ear differently?
You wouldn't be saying the same thing.
Huh?
You wouldn't be saying the same thing.
Oh, yes, I would.
Nah.
Because it's about public health. And that's why I said, don't think that you know my situation because I'm going from home. You don't know how COVID is affecting my business at home or my business in general. You have no idea. You're making assumptions because you're making assumptions about that. Like, oh, he's not being affected at all. That ain't true.
But I think you're proving my point, though.
How so?
because you're not going to let me tell you, given your situation, where you stand. You're proving my point, but that's the point that I'm trying to make, is that you, like, given the situation, COVID is very complicated. There is no right or wrong answers for teachers, for principals. Like, we had a Zoom meeting with his school and parents were going off, like, I'm ready, like, what's going on? Y'all pushing, we's ready to bring his stuff back to school. My son got his own tablet, everything. We got books, everything. And people were just going off. And when I get it from all sides, but I can't criticize any parent or any teacher or anybody on trying to work through this. None of us has ever been through a pandemic. Have you ever been through a pandemic? Nobody has.
Right.
For almost close to 100-some years. There's no right or wrong answer. There is no, you can't criticize parents or.
I think you're being short-sighted.
Some of you can, government-wise, as far as the money, but as criticizing parents for, a complicated situation, I don't think you can do that.
I think, and again, Brian, I love you. I got nothing but love for you. And I know you're happy about GW getting that win. We'll talk about that later. But
you already know.
But I think you're being short-sighted. And I said the same thing last year. Let me give you an example of what I mean by short-sightedness. See, I'm looking at the long game. I'm looking at the long game. I'll say what I said again. My focus is public health. Our kids are never going to return to normalcy. They're never going to get a chance to get back to the continuity of being in the classroom until we make some sacrifices. Let me give you a real-time example that is facts. So last year, CPS decided to stop doing virtual learning, because remember, they started the year in virtual learning and then made the decision to go back to a hybrid. I thought it was a bad idea. I thought it was a bad idea because we had not gotten through the worst of COVID. And what I said eventually happened. What my concern is that they were going to expose the teachers, expose the families, expose the kids, and then make a decision to go right back to virtual learning. And that's exactly what they did. And that can happen again. So while all these parents out here talking about we got to go back, what if we have the kids and the teachers go straight back in the classroom? Then they start having more people get COVID and they got to make a decision to go right back to virtual again. Why not be consistent and keep our head down until the coast is clear? Is it difficult for working parents? Yes. But the lack of continuity is even worse. Because here's what happens. You're a working parent. Now you figured out things and how they work right now because we've been doing this for the last 3 months. Now you got to change your plans because your kids go back into school. Well, if something happens, or if you get a letter saying your kid has been around somebody with COVID, now you get a letter. Now your kid got to be in quarantine. Now you got to figure out on the fly about what your arrangement is. To me, continuity is best across the board for everybody, no matter what your work situation is.
Right, and I totally get the continuity, but there is no right. I mean, there's no right or wrong answers. We never been through this situation before. People are coming up with ideas on the fly. I mean, we've never been through this before, and I just don't think that on the parents' end, like all your other criticism for the government, the schools, I mean, that's all fine. But as a parent, like, I just don't think that you can be as hard on parents as you are or have been, like, just as far as just criticizing us.
Yeah, I'm gonna be hard on the parents.
We have hard decisions that we have to make.
Right.
Now, I can't speak for other parents. A lot of parents don't take care of the kids. That ain't me. But as far as me and my house, I work hard to try to take care of my family, health-wise, financially, and everything. So any decisions that I make, I think about everything, the bigger picture. I mean, especially with this pandemic, there is no right or wrong answer.
There's a wrong answer.
Trying to.
Brian, I disagree with you that the wrong answer is forcing kids and staff to get back to in-school learning before staff at least get vaccinated. That is the wrong answer.
So as me as a working parent, when am I supposed to wait for them to be vaccinated?
For you as a working parent, when are you supposed to what now?
When am I supposed to be able to go back to work before these teachers get vaccinated? No more PTO. Like I said, I've been out of work home for like 4 months. I'm just now getting back to work this week. So when am I supposed to wait for the teachers to be vaccinated?
Okay.
March.
You're supposed
spring,
to wait.
Summer. I have no more time for that.
Brian, I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother. You
Yes.
finish your flow.
Like I just don't have no more time for that. Like I have no more paid time for that. Last 2 weeks was unpaid. So when and then my wife, she just got vacation for the new year. I already used a week for this week. So when are we supposed to wait outside of it, the pandemic being 100% cured? When are we supposed to wait as parents to be able to send our kids back to school? When? It's frustrating on all ends. There is no, I just think that you were just oversimplifying it.
Oh, no, it is simple. And the answer to your question is you wait until the coast is clear. We've waited this long. Listen, I understand it's going to be difficult. It's going to hit people differently. But what's more important, individual house home or public health?
They're all tied together. You can't separate the two.
I'm asking you, what's more important, individual households or public health?
You can't separate the two.
I think it's obvious that the answer is public health.
Because my public health is tied to my individual income, household, everything. It's all tied together. One can't work without the other. If I'm not healthy, I can't go to work to provide for my family.
Exactly. And if you send, and if CPS or the school systems rush back students and teachers before it's ready, the kids are going to be sent right back home, and parents who are working parents are going to be in the same position again anyway.
I don't think that it's being rushed now. It could, like, as far as, them wanting money and things like that, that's a separate argument. I try not to get into politics like that, but
Brian, the teachers and the staff haven't been vaccinated yet. What do you mean it's not rushed? Hamilton County is in the purple. That means the infection rate is higher in Hamilton County than it was last year, than it's ever been before.
Now, I will agree with you that I wish that the teachers could have been vaccinated with the frontline health workers. Yes, I do wish that they could have been vaccinated with the frontline, the nurses and things like that. I wish they could have been, but that's not the situation. So, but it goes back to being a parent, a working parent. When am I supposed to send feel safe to send my kid back to school? He's wearing masks and things like that. When?
When it's safe, when the coast is clear, when it's safe, when the coast is clear, when you have confidence that it's not going to be a yo-yo, back to school, back at home, back to school, back at home. That's even worse for working parents. Working parents need continuity. Whatever your plans are going to be, you need to know that it's going to be a continuous thing rather than back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Quite honestly, what I'm saying is actually helping working parents, because what I'm calling for is continuity. That's what working parents need. It's harder on worker parents to go back and forth than to know what the plan is, no matter what the plan is.
And I agree with you with the continuity, but it's not there from the government when Trump was in office. That's not there, obviously. So again, it boils down to me as a parent to, I have to make hard decisions. And with his school, they're doing everything in their power. I must say, I can't speak for CPS, but they have apps and everything where you put the temperature in the student, and if the temperature's over, you can't even take your kid to school. They have to wear masks. Everything when they were in school. So they're doing everything in their power to keep the kids safe. And I do trust them that, they are doing everything in their power to keep the kids safe. And I do feel comfortable with school going back next week to send my kid back. But again, that factor is going to always be there with the health. I hope and pray that everything be safe and, things of that nature. But again, what am I to do?
Make it happen, Captain. That's what you're supposed to do. Make it happen.
That's what I've been doing.
Okay, then. So that's what you do. You make it happen, like parents have been doing since the beginning of time. You make it happen.
But everybody's situation isn't like mine, though. And I just going back. We're going in circles, but everybody's situation isn't like mine.
Every parent is in the same situation.
Critique everybody the same.
Brian, every parent is in the same situation. You are responsible for your children. You're going to have to make it happen. Captain, that's what it is. I'm not trying to minimize it and say it's easy. I'm just saying, let's stop all the BS and get straight to it. That's what you're going to have to do until the coast is clear. And then we can get back to school, because that's where everybody wants to be. We all want our children to be
But
back
see,
in school. That's the best for
But see,
everybody.
you can wait for that coach to be clear. I can't wait for that coach to be clear because I have to pay these bills.
So what's the alternative? To put public health at risk, send your kids back to school, and then maybe you get a letter a week later saying, oop, contact tracing. We think your kid has been involved around somebody with COVID. And guess what? Now your kid back at home for 2 weeks. So what's the difference?
Yeah, I mean, there is no, but that goes back to what I'm saying. There is no, it's a complicated situation. As parents, we have to make hard decisions.
Leaders got to,
we have to make hard decisions.
And sometimes those hard decisions means that, not everybody's going to like it. Either way, some people might like it. Some people may not like what CPS has decided to do. That's just the hard decision that leadership has to make. For me, I think they should do it in terms of public health and continuity. We just got a phone call from a woman who's like, yeah, my kids was in school for 2 days and they was back at home. So what's the difference? So it's worth to send your kids back to school for 2 days, expose them to COVID, and then they're back at home for another 2 weeks? That don't make any sense, man. That don't make sense.
So I just don't think that you can't dismiss a parent's decision making. That's her situation. She made the best decision for her situation. And again, you were just oversimplifying her situation and just the COVID, going back to school situation in general. You were just oversimplifying it to me.
I think you're overcomplicating. I think you're over. It is simple.
No, I'm not.
You're overcomplicating. No. It's real simple. Public health should be the number one determinant. What are parents supposed to do? Make it happen, Captain. It's real simple. That's simple.
No, it's not.
It's very simple.
I disagree.
Well, you know my motto, B. We can always agree to disagree.
Just like you a LeBron James fan, we ain't gonna never agree on that.
You know what? When LeBron get that 6th ring, you're gonna be on the LeBron side. Watch.
His health. Speaking of public health, LeBron's health ain't gonna last. It's 6th ring.
Hey, B, I appreciate the call, man. I love it. Thank you for the call.
All right, man. Take care.
Yeah, most def. That's Brian right there. GW fan, but I love him anyway. Just because he liked GW and he jumped on the bandwagon, it's all good. Well, I'm here a little bit later because tomorrow I'm going to have to leave early. I'm not going to be able to stay with you for the full show. Right now I'm saying 10 minutes. It might be 15 minutes to the top of the hour. So I want to give you a little bit of extra time. Plus, it's a really, really hot topic. I know people have very strong opinions. I have a strong opinion. I'm open to be changed. When more information comes in, I'll change my opinion. But as of right now, it's real simple. Y'all trying to make it more complicated per your house style, your house. It don't matter your personal lifestyle. It's about what's best for everybody. And everybody in Cincinnati would benefit from not spreading COVID. I don't care whether you work at home or you don't work at home. It makes no difference. Nobody wins if we spread COVID in Hamilton County and through Cincinnati public school systems across the board. I don't think there's going to be any argument with that. Nobody wins. Nobody wins. And these same parents that's writing op-eds to the Cincinnati Enquirer and talk about give us a choice. We did this last year. We did this last year. I'm saying the same thing now. I said to you last year because I feel the same way. CPS started in virtual. My opinion, I got a little small opinion. It's just one person. My opinion don't carry no weight. But my opinion was keep it virtual until the coast is clear. Because why would you want to go back and forth, back and forth? You're going to school. You're not going to school. You're going to school. Not going to school. That's more difficult on the children. And that's more difficult on parents, no matter where you work and how you get your bread. It's more difficult. And what happened? CPS decided to go back to hybrid. And then 3-4 weeks later, oops, my bad. COVID is real. And they had to go back to virtual. It was a hardship for parents and students because now parents who are working, you might have had some kind of babysitting in place. And then you stop that. And then you had to go back and get it on point again. So what are we seeing that would make us believe that if they go back to hybrid, which is what they're going to do, that the same thing's not going to happen again this time? Well, the difference is that they're going to be vaccinating the administrators and the teachers and all the work staff, because that's what led to them going back to virtual before. They didn't have enough adults. They didn't have enough staff. So some of these same Ellie Aiken parents, not saying that's Brian, I'm not saying you got legitimate reasons, but you got to look at the biggest issue. It's called public health. Some of these same complaining parents who are like, oh, give us a choice. You can find yourself in a situation in 3 weeks or a month where your kid is right back home with you. Where's your choice at now? Because you got to be quarantined. Or I think they're changing some of the rules now where they're saying the kids don't have to be quarantined anymore. I don't know. Like I said, it sounds to me like some of that Daniel Cameron stuff, where Daniel Cameron was just cherry picking the information and the evidence that he wanted to arrive at his conclusion that he had already thought of. So we got information that they knocked on the door. Meanwhile, only one person said they heard the police. That person initially said that the police did not identify themselves. It took 3 months, and then he said, oh, yeah, I heard the police. Now we find out there were 6 other witnesses who the police investigators talked to. They all said the police didn't identify themselves. Daniel Cameron gets up in front of everybody and says, well, we got to follow the evidence. Stop the games. Keep it real. Keep it real. Let me see. Rachel writes, CPS. I'll go with you. We got 1 more minute. CPS is a huge district that should not be compared to any other suburban school plan. I agree with that. Brian writes, we just heard from Brian. Great call. He writes, they are going to ignore COVID once they do this. The policy is the same as it was. Let the dying continue no matter what, because other things are more important, and they won't admit that. I just say keep it real with me. Keep it real with me, CPS. Whatever the case may be, keep it real. Whatever your plans are, keep it real. If it's the governor, keep it real. If you got some kind of criteria, keep it real. If it's complaining parents on your website, that's got a name and they carry weight, then keep it real. Whatever it is, just keep it real. But it's 10:30. Thank you for being here. It was a great show. A lot of passion, no anger. A lot of passion. A lot of divergent points of view, which I love. You ain't got to agree with me. We always can agree to disagree. I just want to have a conversation because I think people can decide how they feel when you hear divergent points of view. So thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. I'll be back and better than ever with you tomorrow morning, bright and early at 7:30 a.m. Don't forget, Midday Juice is back today at 1 p.m. with Ask Ashley. All right. Make sure you check out that stream. You can find it on CDM. And I'll say it again. If you are a creator or a creative, if you are an audio engineer, editor, if you're a videographer, if you're crazy good with graphic arts, if you're an entrepreneur looking for creative ways to connect with your customers and or an audience, let's connect. Send me a direct message. I'll reach out to you today and set up a time for us to connect. All right. Have an excellent rest of your day, family. We'll talk real soon. I'm Nathan Ivey, broadcasting live from a secret location somewhere in Cincinnati. All right. Have an excellent rest of your day, and I'm out.
The Nathan Ivey Show is supported by listeners. Go to www.patreon.com/Nathan Ivey Show and help Nathan keep the show independent.
Yeah. Talking to my mirror like I love you so much. Curving on my critics like I heard you, so what? You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. Tally all the I ever gave on my head. Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss. They ain't wanna help me, that's what made me a boss. You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. We don't give a that's what they don't understand. I'm back again like flu season, I broke records while loose leaf and I'm